Witnesses are today expected to appear before the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry when it resumes its hearings in South Africa, Pretoria. The commission is probing allegations of criminality, corruption and political interference in the police and criminal justice system of the country. KwaZulu-Natal Province Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi made the allegations last year. Jeremy Michaels is the commission's spokesperson.
The Madlanga Commission will today, that's Monday the 26th of January, hold its first public hearing for 2026. Following the testimony in December last year of Police Minister Senzo Mchunu regarding the disbandment of the Political Killings Task Team, the Commission's hearing on Monday will continue with that theme and evidence related to political interference. 2 new witnesses are due to take the stand today.
Prominent Kenyan opposition figure Rigathi Gachagua has alleged there was an attempt on his life during a Sunday church service. Gachagua, who was sacked as deputy president in an impeachment trial in 2024, claimed a gang of police officers had attacked the church in Otaya in the central county of Nyeri using bullets and tear gas. Without providing evidence, he accused his former ally, President William Ruto, of ordering the attack. The police said an investigation had been launched, adding that no injuries had been reported. President Donald Trump has indicated that he might eventually withdraw immigration enforcement officials from the U.S. city of Minneapolis as outrage grows over the fatal shooting of a nurse by federal agents on Saturday. A growing number of politicians from Trump's Republican Party are joining calls for a full investigation. A huge crowd has marched in Minneapolis to protest against federal immigration enforcement. The BBC's Carl Nasman.
Throughout the day, we've seen hundreds of people coming here to pay their respects, leave flowers and messages and light candles. This all coming less than 3 weeks after the death of Renee Good. But I do think it's notable that we're now hearing from some high-profile Republican lawmakers questioning some of these ICE tactics and calling for an independent investigation into this latest shooting. One senator putting it very simply that the credibility of ICE is at stake.
Recapping on your top stories, tension remains high across Uganda following the disputed presidential election earlier this month. Reports say soldiers raided the home of opposition leader Bobi Wine, assaulting his wife and seizing personal property, while hundreds of his supporters have been detained. Channel Africa News, I am Onele Nsinsi.
SABC News. The African Perspective. We are on OpenView's audio bouquet. Channel 628. On the Move with Benjamin and Palesa every weekday on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
All right, it's time for On the Move. It's 900 hours Central African time. You are listening to Channel Africa. Thank you for joining us, everybody. It's that time where we unpack the trends of the African continent, affirm who we are as the continent, as individuals, as families, and try to just better it up here on the African continent. Thank you for joining us on DSTV Channel 802, OpenView 628 on www.channelafrica.co.za. And you can also find us on the 2 apps, the SABC Plus app and also the Channel Africa app. So you can't say I've got an excuse. I don't know you guys. I don't know how to get hold of you. There's so many ways to check out Channel Africa. So do that indeed. We'll be with you until midday. We've got so much that's coming up, Bali.
Absolutely, we do. Well, we're starting off the Monday with a throwback, even though it's not Thursday. It's what's been happening on social media, and globally, social media users have been throwing back all the way to 2016. I'm sure you've seen this if you're on social media. People posting their pictures from back in 2016, what they were doing, reminiscing. It was a very different time, wasn't it?
I wonder if the millennials are becoming nostalgic. It's revealing a little bit of their aging. Or is it just a thing like, okay, let's just reflect and remember where we come from, right?
Yeah, so that's what we're looking at in the first hour of the show. Does looking back actually help us cope with today's uncertainty? memories. What's behind the psychology of trying to look back and holding on to nostalgia of things? So that's going to be our first hour conversation. A very interesting one in our second hour. That's the African View.
The African View is when we have a debate, right? And we look at an interesting topic and we try to see two sides of the coin of an argument. South Africa's Constitutional Court recently ruled that anti-nuptial contracts signed after a customary marriage are invalid unless they undergo judicial approval under the Matrimonial Property Act. We know that there was a big case between Black Coffee and his partner. We're going to be looking at this question. Do uniform marriage laws help protect spouses, or do they erode valued cultural norms? We'll see two sides of that and where that takes us with that debate.
Yeah, that one is actually, there's a lot that we can think about there. But we're going to wrap it up with our fitness and nutrition. And today we're speaking about a different way of exercise. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah. Sounds worse than yoga.
I don't think so. Well, you never know, you know what? So we're going to be looking at this alternative to exercise, keeping healthy and overall physical wellness. And we'll be chatting to Chris Bright, who's the head coach at Port Elizabeth Submission Fighting Academy, about Jiu-Jitsu and if maybe it's something that you would like to try out this year. So come on through, join us. We are on the socials. At Channel Africa 1 is our social media handle on X, Instagram, TikTok. We're on Facebook and YouTube as well. That's where we'll be streaming live in the next 3 hours. So come in through, join us, see what we're up to in studio, and comment. Let us know where you're tuned in from.
All right, that WhatsApp number that's new is +27 832 88 6684. Stay connected with us right here on Channel Africa.
Ukatili wa kijinsia unaharibu maisha na kutenga jamii. Hutokea nyumbani, shuleni, kazini na mara nyingi kwa ukimya. Lakini hauwezi kuendelea. Ukiona, ongea. Ikiwa unaumia, funguka, kwa sababu kutofanya lolote sio chaguo. Sikiliza vituo vyote 19 vya redio kuanzia Jumatano ya tarehe 23 Julai kwenye mijadala, ushauri, tamthilia, maonyesho ya elimu na mahojiano na wataalamu, manusura, watunga sheria na nchi nzima iliyoathirika na ukatili wa kijinsia kwenye vituo vyako pendwa vya redio. Piga simu 0800 428 428 ili kuripoti unyanyasaji au kupata msaada. GBV, ikomeshwe na wewe. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwenu na shirika la SABC.
Step into the heart of the day on the move with Palesa and Benjamin.
All right, the millennials are going all retro on us. Globally, social media users, especially on platforms like TikTok and Instagram, are actively posting throwback photos, videos, and filters from 2016, sparking a wave of nostalgia. This trend is known as 2026 is the new 2016. It reflects a longing for the mid-2010s, the era before major global disruptions like COVID-19, widespread AI content, and political polarization that became dominant. Yeah, there's a lot that's happening right now when you make that reflection, right? People are revisiting pop culture moments like fashion and viral challenges from that year, often as a way to reconnect emotionally with what was perceived as simpler time. Does looking back help us to cope with today's uncertainty? What is the psychology behind this? We're joined by Agatha Christie Akelo, who is a mental health activist and communication specialist, joining us from Uganda. Agatha, welcome on the show. Agatha, are you there?
Yes, I am. Hi.
Fantastic. I can hear you now. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing my best. How are you?
I'm also trying hard. You know, we are millennials, so this reflection is something that we are using as a coping mechanism. So yeah, we are trying our best this morning. Let's talk a little bit about this phenomenon of looking back in a period in time that feels different. Is it really different? Because I think even 2016 has its own challenges, had its moments of reckoning. I don't know, maybe it's because our nostalgia has a lot of filters around it.
100% does. Something that I learned a few years ago called memory nostalgia, where we romanticize the past. Now, for this current trend, I think it's really helpful to see how far you've come, to accept that these too shall pass. You know, people had maybe funny outfits back then and now they dress better, or they didn't like where they were at the time and now they're doing better. And it's encouraging to know that whatever season you're in, you'll know you'll overcome it, you'll persevere, and you'll come out strong on the other side. However, in regards to, let's say, relationships, and the human mind is crazy. When you look back at things,
Sure.
there's a tendency to focus on the good things that happened at the time. And it's good that you mentioned 2016 had times of reckoning. It wasn't all fun and games. The things that didn't really go well at the time, but we're not going to focus on that either, right? So for some people, I think it can facilitate a mindset of getting stuck in the past. And yet life is ever changing, evolving. So I don't know, I'm a bit 50-50 about that. I don't know. What did you bring back from 2016, for example?
Agatha, there's something significant about 10 years just in general, right? Most of the time when we think about the future goals, like, what's going to be happening in 5 or 10 years? So that's quite a significant moment. And seeing just how much things can change, how much growth can take place, and how much the world itself can change in 10 years, can build up quite a lot of feelings. But are these feelings healthy or unhealthy for us? Let's look at the psychology of nostalgia. These things sometimes are things that we hold on to, and especially when we reflect just how much things have changed in that period of time.
I mean, it's helpful as long as it does not influence your self-concept. So in psychology, everybody has to go through phases. There are about 10 phases, I think, according to Erik Erikson's law. And I'm assuming if someone was if we're looking back at 2016, that person is in their mid-30s now, more or less, or entering their 30s, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And it's psychologically, we expect that in your 30s, you probably have a child or a family or a career that you enjoy. There's a trajectory that your life is moving through. And if you're not ticking those boxes, it can cause a certain destabilization in your mind where you feel like, oh, I need to be doing more. I'm not doing enough with myself. So looking back can kind of help soothe those, like I mentioned earlier, that it can help you accept that you've come from far, you did all the hard work. And if not, then now it's like, I don't want to look back in 2036 and I haven't achieved the things that I said I would in 2026. So it can be healthy, but I would take it with a grain of salt. So I'm not stuck in a state of mind or in a space that no longer serves me. But it's also it's also fun. I would look at it as just a fun little throwback. Let's not get so stuck on it. Personally, I don't think it's healthy to get stuck on the past.
Sure. Let's look at the fun side of it, right? Because maybe your fashion has changed. Maybe your hairstyle is a little bit modernized. Maybe the people used to hang out a little bit more sophisticated. I don't know what people are comparing, right? So that fun element of reflection also, it's a quirky part of us just also escaping from the current maybe challenges.
The blue lipstick. No. Listen, I love lip gloss and I'm glad we universally moved forward. Absolutely not with the lipstick. I also like how much I'm a creator myself. I like how the landscape has evolved over the 10 years. When you look at and just seeing more Africans also on all these platforms, seeing much more representation, especially in the beauty landscape, fashion, food, and also just we're more globally connected. So I like that. I like that we can look back and say, oh, 10 years ago, I wasn't able to have this call, for example. I'm Ugandan, I'm based in Nairobi, but I'm having a call with a South African audience, and I think that's really interesting. That also mentions, so like Zoom, in the past, people weren't really getting on the Zoom, and now that means a lot of things. And yeah, I think It's fun that we've evolved. It's fun that we've evolved. Please let's not bring back the cakey lipstick, okay? I'm not a fan of that.
I
do not
agree. I agree. Agatha,
Yeah.
also, if we look at the recent times that we've found ourselves in, it's very, very different from the year 2016. We've had the COVID-19 pandemic. AI is coming in and changing quite a lot. The world of work has changed. Music and how we interact with it has changed. Like, there's a lot of things that have changed from that moment. And when we are doing reflecting, because we speak a lot about that, right? Reflecting on ourselves and reflecting on our past. When we do these throwbacks and it brings us into a moment of reflection, how exactly do we collate the growth that we've made in that 10-year space?
Correlate?
So collate, how do we look at it? How do we really try and look at the growth that we've made in the past 10 years?
Okay.
Yeah.
So earlier in my career, I came to the understanding that change and growth are a constant part of life, okay? And there's always going to be good and bad things happening all around you because life is very challenging. That's just how it's supposed to be. It's very important that you have a version of yourself that withstands all. So, and it has to be at a high level. We call that a baseline in psychology. So, what's your self-concept and how do you interact with the people around you and the society around you? What are your beliefs around money, friendships, all of those things that make life great? And if you have a firm perception of yourself, if you have a firm version of yourself who can withstand both the good and the bad, both the past and the present, it's easier for you to not get swallowed up by trends or swallowed back into the past because you have that understanding that, okay, 10 years ago, I wasn't going to the gym regularly and now I am. And I'm really proud of that. And it's good to see how much I've grown and I'm excited to see how much more the 5 years will take me, how much more the 10 years will take me. So I strongly believe in looking back from a very firm standpoint of saying, these are my beliefs, these are my principles. That was great, but this is what I'm doing now. This is my present. This is where my feet are. So it's very important to look at it through a lens of, it was great, but this is where I am now, and this is where we're going.
All right,
that's what I strongly believe.
So, Agatha, stay there on the line. We'll continue the conversation. We're speaking to Agatha Akelo, a mental health activist and communications specialist, joining us all the way from Uganda. We'll be back after this.
Are you fluent in French, Chinyanja, Portuguese, and Kiswahili? Are you passionate about radio? And are you looking to work in South Africa? Do you have papers that qualify you to work in South Africa? In that case, we might have an opportunity for you to work for Channel Africa. Send us your CV and demo at newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Remember, if you don't hear from us within 14 days, it means you have not made it or you have not been selected. Channel Africa, the African perspective. 9 to 12 midday, Central African Time. On the Move with Palesa and Benjamin Moshatama.
It's a global trend that's been all over the socials. You guys posting throwback pictures and videos of yourselves back in 2016, reflecting on the 10-year gap that we've seen and, you know, some of the things that were taking place in that particular year. Today, Agatha Akelo is a mental health activist and communications specialist joining us from Uganda. Is helping us understand really the psychology behind throwbacks, looking back, the nostalgia of it all. Agatha, you know, one thing that's also been trending for a couple of years now is a psychology term known as triggering. And maybe this kind of trend can trigger some people. Perhaps you didn't have the best 2016 and you're seeing a lot of people posting their throwbacks reminds you of maybe a dark time in your life. Perhaps in the opposite sense as well, it's 2026 and you don't feel like a lot has moved for you in life, whether it's in your love life, in your career, or many other spaces where you feel like this 10 years has been wasteful in a sense. If this trend is triggering someone for one reason or the other, how can they still maybe not even participate, but see it, not be as triggered as they should be, or even reflect on these things, even if it doesn't bring back good nostalgic feelings?
I would say that a great place to start is to be honest with yourself, and you know, ask the question like, why is this bothering me, and be able to articulate exactly what the problem is, and then solve it. Because triggers will always be there, like I said earlier. but are you able to understand where you are now and move forward swiftly and say, this has bothered me? Reflect on that. Actually, recently, if I'm to give a personal example, I had a really close friend and we had a slight falling out. I wouldn't even say I was falling out. We had an experience and then they stopped talking to me. And one day I just realized, why doesn't this person talk to me anymore? So I asked them, I said, why don't you talk to me anymore? And so we entered into our conversation and sharing perspectives. And so I think you need to have that dialogue with yourself as well, with your past self and your present self, and just be really honest and say, okay, it's 2026. This happened 10 years ago, but it's still bothering me so much. Why? What are the facts? What are the fantasies? What are the delusions that have, gathered around the situation? And how can I move forward? Do I need help moving forward? What would that help look like? What would an honest and committed version to growth of me do? So yeah, just be honest yourself. Ask the hard questions. Nobody's going to beat you, I promise. It's just you. It's just you and your healed and healthy version, I would believe.
Well, it's one thing to reflect on yourself based on your social media throwback moments, right? But, social media can be a place for the impressionist. You are trying to set an image for yourself. And we never completely 100% honest on social media. So we're always creating an impression of how we want to be seen by the world. And I wonder if it's a good thing to use that kind of impression to reflect on yourself, because that means you almost like self-deceiving in a way. I don't know if I'm right to think like this. Is social media the best way to reflect back to yourself?
Is it the best way?
Just to reflect to yourself, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I think that because of the developments that we've had over the years, and if you have access to knowledge, if you're a Christian and the Bible says, my people perish because of a lack of knowledge, social media is just a source of information. And I think we all ought to look at it that way. It's just a source of information. It's not for facts per se. And it's a great conversation starter. It's a great starting point. But you shouldn't just lead with that, There are other things around you that could also help you in that retrospect. It's a good starting point, as I said. It's good to say that, okay, like you've asked, is this a good place to be retrospective? I saw this TikTok online and it spoke to me. Ask a friend, ask someone who is trusted, who knows you as well in this present moment, who has experienced you deeply. Mm-hmm. If you're able to access a professional, you can also go that route. And so just they can help you have a better sense of things without it identifying you. Because what happens is, I strongly believe that online is an extension of offline. But what we're doing lately is making the online an extension of our offline. And that's not true, You can't post something that you haven't experienced. And the internet is a virtual world. I don't want you to say that it's a reality entirely. Yeah. So I wouldn't really agree with it being my only source of questioning, of retrospect, of self-identification. I would go the extra mile of actually touching grass. So,
yeah.
And, yeah. So it shouldn't be the only way,
I agree with that one. We definitely should be in our most realistic life possible and, be here, yes, not just on social media. Another thing about this is that it reminds us just how much we can change. Yes, things around us have changed as well in the past 10 years. But you look back at your throwback pictures. I think I've been doing that during this conversation. Facebook is the one place where, it has some of my oldest pictures. And so I go back to the year 2016 and I realized that I have changed quite a lot as well, just as a person, right? And that person, though I recognize her as myself, is a very different version of myself, and we are just not the same person anymore. When we look at that, some of the things that come up in those reflections are the people that we used to spend time with back then, maybe the work that we used to do, and the environments that we used to surround ourselves with. In that retrospect or in that reflection of looking back to 2016, do you think it's healthy that we're keeping maybe the exact same people in your life that you see there are still here in your life today? Or are we supposed to reflect and say, hey, it's actually a good thing that I've lost some people, that I've also lost versions of me along the way that don't resonate with me anymore?
Yeah. No, I 100% agree with you last statement. Like, it's okay to it has to happen. And I feel like for women, I don't know if it's the same for everyone. One of my biggest growths came from a friendship breakup of letting go of people, accept the time in my life was over. Of course, after a few years, it came to a moment of reconciliation. But the past was the past. When we moved on, I held no grudge, but I also had an understanding now, okay, in the future, all of it is information. I like to treat everything as information. Like now I know that person X is not someone I can say and do this with. Because also as you get older, unfortunately, you start being very political with your relationship specifically because people have evolved over time. People are now a sum total of their experiences, of their beliefs, of the people they've met who are not you. And so it can easily influence certain either good or bad things in your life, you know? So it's very important to not give them so much what do they call it? So much airtime, if for lack of a better word, or like put them on a pedestal. Just have that understanding that people need grace, people change, people evolve. So do you. So I think I'm more kinder now in my relationships because I've gone through the meal of learning that okay, this is not permanent. And I'm capable of forgiving. It doesn't mean I have to put them back as president.
Yeah.
But yeah, they can just be a citizen with voting rights. Also, I treat my relationships like driving school. I learned how to drive just a few years ago, and you have to start from 20 per hour, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And the reason they make you start so slow is because you change. If you make a mistake, it's easier to change it. It's easier for you to brake, and also it helps with your nerves. Until you're more, so if the road is not good, you will not make an accident, right?
Right.
And it's also good for the nerves. But if you get on a smooth road that everything is functioning, you can now push to a 40, right? And then a 60, and then 100 or whatever it is that you're more comfortable with. And that's the same thing with relationships. I would say that the vehicle is the relationship. I'm definitely the driver, and the road is who the person is.
Love that.
And so you have to continuously show me that your terrain can handle this vehicle. If yes, then we'll go further, then we'll go deeper.
Yeah.
Okay. And so now that's the understanding that I have. If I look back at 2016, I lost friends, brought them back in, but in a different level. And even now when I'm starting from scratch of making friendships, I already have my baseline because I've had 10 years experiencing that this is, you're not supposed to meet someone for the first time and tell them about your entire life.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Well, Agatha, we have to leave it there, unfortunately, but this has been a very cool conversation looking at the trend. 2026 is the new 2016. Agatha, where can people find you on social media? Do you have any platforms where we can connect with you?
Yes, Akelo's World on all social media platforms. That is AKELLO World. I hope you can spell that. Akelo's World.
Nice.
on Instagram. But preferably, actually, Instagram is a really good place to find me. If you get me on Instagram, you can find me everywhere else.
All right, that's Agatha Christie Akelo, mental health activist and communications specialist, joining us all the way from Uganda. What do you think of that one? Want to get your thoughts? WhatsApp us or send us a message on our socials. It's time for us to move on right now. Let's get the latest sports.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
It's a very good morning from the sports desk. I am Musibu Dimakura with your latest sports news at the Sawa. So Kaizer Chiefs co-coach Khalil Ben Yusuf has emphasized the importance of prioritizing results over good play, especially on a challenging pitch. This after they registered their first in the CAF Confederation Cup group stages. So Kaizer Chiefs beat Zesco United 1-0 in their first win against a Zambian team in a CAF Interclub competition. This match was played at the Levi Mwanawasa Stadium in Ndola yesterday. So Chiefs managed to score the only goal in this game inside the first 2 minutes through Pule Modi's strike. Ben Yusuf says after seeing the pitch, they decided to adopt this business-like approach in that game.
Yesterday, game -2, I think we make our training session in the pitch, and we discovered that the pitch is so difficult to play football in. So for that we have to manage how we play different football. You know that we are a technical team, but with this kind of pitch is dangerous to play football because each ball you have to make 3 or 4 control, then you can play before. Also, we was more focused in the FIFA break about the strategic ball.
So it was the third straight loss in Group D for Zesco United, and they remain rooted at the bottom of the table. But Ben Yusuf avoided calling them the weakest link in this group as they meet the same opposition next week in the return leg in Durban in South Africa's KwaZulu-Natal province.
There is not in football easy game or difficult game, or all the game it's difficult, and all the game also it can be easy. It's depending how you prepare the plan of the game, and also it's depending from the performance of the player. If the plan of the game that you prepared and the execution of this plan in the game, it's minimum 90% they do the player, so I think it will be easy. But if you find your player is a bad day or the performance wasn't good, so it will be difficult.
On to some cricket news now. South Africa's under-19 men's cricket team have been knocked out of the ongoing ICC Under-19 Cricket World Cup after a 6-wicket defeat to Australia in Windhoek. So needing victory to stay in contention for a semi-final spot, the young Proteas side collapsed to 118 all out, with Australia easing to 122 for 4 in the 33rd over. So JJ Basson impressed with figures of 3 for 41, and Bayanda Majola claimed 1 for 23, but their efforts weren't enough to defend a low-scoring total. Now, Stephen Hogan top-scored for Australia with 43, while Alex Lee Young and Jaden Draper guarded their side home unbeaten. So South Africa had struck very early through Basson, who removed Will Malazuk with a superb catch by Armin Manak, but the Aussies took control to seal a victory on the day, also still remain in contention for a semi-final position. On the tennis court now, Novak Djokovic's hopes of a stand-alone record 25th Grand Slam title have been boosted after his 4th-round opponent, Jakub Minsk, withdrew from the Australian Open with an abdominal injury. Djokovic was scheduled to face the 20-year-old Czech Republican during Monday's evening session in Melbourne, but will now progress straight through to the quarterfinals. He will face either the 5th seed Lorenzo Musetti of Italy or American 9th seed Taylor Fritz in the last 8. Now, the news follows the withdrawal of 2-time champion Naomi Osaka on Saturday, while others, such as the 2025 winner Yannick Sinner, have struggled in the heat, which the forecast is that come Tuesday, the temperatures will have risen to 42 degrees Celsius. Now, should the remainder of the draw go with the seedings, the 38-year-old Novak Djokovic could come up against Sinner in the semi-finals and the world number 1 Carlos Alcaraz in the final of the first Grand Slam tournament of the year. Meanwhile, in the women's play, Madison Keys says she's walking away with her head held high after her reign as the Australian Open champion ended to good friend Jessica Pegula on Monday in the last round of 16. Pegula defeated the title holder and her fellow American Keys 7-6 and 6-3 and 6-4 on a hot and a sunny day in Melbourne. Now, Keys, who stunned the world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka in the final last year, made 27 unforced errors to Pegula's 17 and fired down 6 double faults. Keys and Pegula are good friends off the court, and they also host a tennis podcast together. This is what Pegula had to say about defeating her good friend.
I don't know. I've been playing really well, seeing the ball, hitting the ball really well this whole tournament, and I wanted to kind of stay true to that and then just lean on a couple of things that I felt like she would do, and I felt like I came out kind of doing it pretty well, and then maybe got a couple quick points from her early on. So I just tried to when I had that lead, just stick with that lead as much as I could. Even then, she got a little rhythm coming back, but just really tried to focus on what I needed to do and patterns to look out for.
And that's a wrap from the Sports Desk on the first hour of On the Move. As always, for any sports stories you'd like to share with us, do send us an email. That's to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Give us a call. The newsroom line is +27 11714 4459. For Channel Africa Sport, I am Mosibu Di Makura.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective. Get Channel Africa on DSTV Audio Bouquet. Channel 802. Channel Africa is evolving, and so are you. Stay connected wherever you are with our brand new website and mobile app. Stream your favorite shows. Catch up on African news, culture, and conversations, all at your fingertips.
Africa is just a tap away.
Your world, your stories, now on the go.
Stay connected wherever you are.
Visit channelafrica.co.za or download the Channel Africa app today. Channel Africa, the African Perspective.
Thank you so much, Musibudi. Let's move on right now and get our business news.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Benjamin. Good morning. South African political party, the African National Congress, has set up a team tasked with ensuring the financial viability of municipalities. This was announced by ANC NEC member and COGTA Deputy Minister Dixon Masemola. The task team forms part of efforts to review the performance of local government. The party is planning extensive engagements in the next 4 weeks across all provinces on the white paper on local government. Masemola says they want the legislation to be adopted by cabinet by the end of March. He was speaking on the sidelines of the party's NEC Lekgotla in Boksburg, Ekurhuleni.
And that task team is mandated to begin to look at the actual review of the funding model of local government. So that process, working together through Department of Treasury and ourselves and the ANC, will be working on the finalization of that process once the analysis of the task team will have been produced as a report that begins to work on alternative policy options on how do we strengthen funding model of municipalities.
Germany's Special Envoy for Just Energy Transition Partnership, Rainer Bach, says they remain firmly committed to international climate cooperation. He briefed the media in Pretoria as Europe's largest economy has allocated close to $3.75 billion to support Pretoria's bid to have clean energy. Bach further says they will commit regardless of the shifting global political dynamics.
This partnership goes back to 2021 when all countries, including South Africa, which is one of the big emitters of greenhouse gases, had to make a pledge. Where do we want to be 2030? And South Africa at that time said we can be even more ambitious if we get international support.
The South African Federation of Trade Unions, SAFTU, says it is skeptical to challenge President Cyril Ramaphosa's decision to approve a 3.8% salary increase for top political office bearers in court. The increases will cover remuneration packages for the President, Deputy President, Ministers, Deputy Ministers, Premiers, MECs and Members of Parliament. SAFTU has criticized this announcement. Ramaphosa also increased salary of public office bearers by 4.1%. This applies to judges, magistrates, traditional leaders and members of independent constitutional institutions. The Federation's General Secretary Zwelinzima Vavi says the courts would be conflicted by the case.
Even if we were to launch a court application to ask the judges to set this one aside, we don't think that they will do anything, bearing in mind the precedent that they've created in the past. And you can imagine now if we were to do the same thing when they will be conflicted by the decision. Surely the Constitutional Court judges are smiling at this 4.1% they are going to be receiving. and they will do nothing to review and unpack, reconsider the whole 3.8 remuneration.
Libya has signed a 25-year oil development agreement with France's Total Energies and ConocoPhillips involving over $20 billion in foreign investment aimed at increasing production capacity by 850,000 barrels per day and generating revenues exceeding $376 billion. The agreement made through Waha Oil Company was announced by Prime Minister Abdulhamid Al-Dibba, who emphasized the strengthening of Libya's relations with key international energy partners. In other news, Britain's economy has shown signs of picking up since Finance Minister Rachel Reeves' annual budget statement in November, following months of uncertainty for employers and households. Surveys published last week indicated that businesses had their best month in January since before Keir Starmer became Prime Minister in July 2024, while consumer confidence reached its highest since August that year. Retail sales volumes rose in December at the fastest annual pace since April, and that is according to official data. However, the labour market remains weak, partly due to a payroll tax increase introduced by Reeves last year, and Britain still has the highest inflation among group of 7 rich economies. Now let's shift our focus to financial indicators. $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,420 naira, Botswana 13 pula 45, Kenya 128 shilling 42, Zambia 19 kwacha 52. BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil is at 5 real 29, in Russia 75 rubles 42, India 91 rupee 54, China 6 yuan 97, South Africa 16 rand 6 cents. $1 is 73 pence to the British pound, 85 to the euro. Commodities, gold is trading at $5,069 per and platinum at $2,861 per ounce. The price of Brent crude oil at $65.99 a barrel. That is all for now. For any business stories you'd like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za, or you can call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I am Chanduko Ligege.
Business News on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Este é o Caleidoscópio de Canal África, com Remo Samo e João Yabalá.
A situação do ativista angolano Serrote José de Oliveira, preso desde julho, tem gerado grande preocupação internacional. Conhecido como General Nila e presidente do movimento União Nacional para a Total Revolução de Angola, Serrote iniciou uma greve de fome em protesto contra a sua prisão, que considera arbitrária. De acordo com a Amnistia Internacional, o estado de saúde do ativista está a deteriorar-se rapidamente devido à falta de acesso a cuidados médicos adequados. Para discutir o impacto deste caso e o estado da liberdade política em Angola, vamos conversar com Dito Dale, ativista e defensor dos direitos humanos.
Nós estamos diante de uma clara estratégia de aniquilar os jovens, porque quando uma pessoa está doente, deve ser assistida. Ao não proporcionar esses cuidados médicos, o que é que o regime quer? Não quer que esse jovem saia livre e com vida da prisão, quer matá-lo.
De segunda a sexta-feira, das 20 às 21 horas locais, este é o Caleidoscópio de Canal África.
Moving to a world of African music. This is Channel Africa.
The higher you build your barriers, the taller I become. The further you take my rights away, the faster I will run. You can deny me, you can decide to turn your face away. No matter, 'cause there's something inside so strong. I know that I can make it, though you're doing me wrong, so wrong. You thought that my pride was gone, oh no. Something inside so strong, oh, something inside so so strong. The more you refuse to hear my voice, the louder I will sing. You hide behind walls of Jericho. Our lives will come tumbling down. Deny my place in time. You squander wealth that's mine. My light will shine so bright it will blind you. Because there's something inside so strong. I know that I can make it. Though you're doing me wrong, so wrong. You thought that my pride was gone. Oh no. Something inside so strong. Oh, something inside so strong. Brothers and sisters, when they insist that we're just not good enough. When we know better, just look them in the eyes and say, we're gonna do it anyway. 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 Gizopumelela, gizofinyelela, gizopigelela.
I hope this is an uplifting one this Monday morning. Lyra and the Soweto Spiritual Singers, Something So Strong is the name of that one. It's 9:49 Central Africa time. This is On The Move. Stay with us.
Across Africa, communities rise with the promise of clean water and clean sanitation. The African Union's 2026 theme calls us to action.
It's about mobilizing real commitments, securing climate-resilient water and sanitation projects, and ensuring that water becomes a driver of sustainable development and prosperity across the continent.
A landmark moment, not only for Africa, but for the global movement for access to safe water for all.
Assuring sustainable water availability for every home, every village, every nation. This is the Africa we want.
Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Africa Update on Channel Africa with Lulu Kabu.
Congolese President Felix Tshisekedi has now accused Rwanda of violating the peace deal. Are you surprised at this latest accusation? This is literally days after a signing, a ceremony, so to speak.
This is not surprising. I mean, if you ask Paul Kagame, he would also say almost the same thing. One should ask a question. The broker of the peace deal, President Trump, what is it that he wants? Why now? And why is this peace deal being signed in the Americas and not in the Great Lakes? Paul Kagame has never respected Tshisekedi, as often say, Tshisekedi must deal with the problems in his country. He has nothing to do with it. So this peace deal, obviously, when it was signed, one just looked at it and said, this will not last.
Kenny Matiba, former journalist.
Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, 12 to 1 p.m. Central African Time. No interruptions. Just the music you love on Channel Africa.
Come closer, Sondela. This is Channel Africa giving you the best music right here on the African continent. That's Trezo featuring Msaki. It's 55 minutes past 9 o'clock Central African time. Are you one of those who took part in that trend? 2026 is the new 2016, Bali?
No, I haven't posted it.
Oh,
but
what
it's
a
actually,
surprise.
yeah, I know.
You didn't?
I did not. I
Just
did not
teasing, I'm
post
just
anything
teasing.
on that. But I've actually been looking through my Facebook, and I think rather than posting, it's made me just go through some of the images of 2016, remember what I was up to back then, how much things have changed since then. So yeah, I've been enjoying the trend, but offline.
Okay, cool. And what have you been noticing about yourself in 2016? I haven't done it. I'm curious. What are you looking
Do
at?
you even still have pictures of yourself from 2016?
Yes, I do.
Where do you find them?
Probably my Facebook and also my Instagram.
Okay, so I'm on my Facebook right now. I had just graduated from one of my courses from the Wits University, my radio course. I was working at a campus radio station. There's a cute one where my son was doing a career day at school, and he was dressed like a little pilot, and that's so cute.
And he's matriculated
and he's matriculated now, way over that. I mean, there's so much. I really am enjoying just looking back at the moments. I don't feel much of the time. It's just, this was a great time, I think. And yeah, a lot has changed, but I think both moments are of good significance to me. So 2016 was incredible, and so is 2026.
All right, let's look back. Let me see if I can find myself in. I have to scroll down because I use a lot of my Facebook to keep the memories of myself. But I'll let you know what I find a little bit later on.
You know what I don't like? You know what I don't like, right? I look at some of these pictures and I also look at like my body, for example, right? And I remember there were moments in my body in 2016 when I was like, I feel a little bit fat. I don't feel good, right?
Sure
but now I'm looking back at those pictures
You don't look fat,
and I'm like, first of all, I wasn't fat. And if I thought that was fat, this is not, there's so much growth and the body has also changed quite a lot. So that's also like, I can't believe I had a certain mindset at that time and it absolutely was not true.
All right. I want to get your memories. If you think of looking back into 2016, what do you think you'd find? Do you think you'd like what you see if you do reflect back in time? Let us know via our WhatsApp number. We'd love to hear from you as well. What is the great memory, or maybe a memory like, no, guys, I'm not going back there. Let us know of your views of this particular trend. We'd like you to WhatsApp us on that one. We'd love to get your interesting thoughts on it. Hey, we're moving into that second hour conversation. On Mondays, we usually have the African View where we just debate something. And today, we're going to be looking at this latest Constitutional Court ruling that says that the anti-nuptial contracts signed after customary marriage are invalid. I had a very interesting post that I saw on my Facebook, which was actually an editor that I used to work with when I was still doing newspaper work. And it was interesting what he says. Okay, if this is true, that, customary marriage is actually a determining factor, right? Which stage of it is it considered? Is it when you send out the letter? Is it when actually the negotiation price is negotiated? And is it when it's paid in full? What if you don't complete that particular payment?
So there are guidelines that they've put out.
Okay.
Essentially, is if lobola negotiations had taken place, there is a letter in place which is usually written, even if it's the first lobola negotiation, right?
All right.
There's a letter in place that represents both families, that signifies that, and a celebration must have taken place. And that's where people sort of get it wrong, right? Because people are like, but we didn't celebrate, we didn't have a wedding day.
Okay.
But people are producing pictures of the feast, the food that you have afterwards. You guys usually, even after the first lobola celebration, right, there'll be videos, maybe they bring the makoti in. After that, you guys sing, that you bring out food, you dance a little bit. That is a celebration, and those three things signify that lobola negotiation as a marriage in community
it's
of
very
property.
interesting because I know growing growing up, there were people who didn't complete the lobola process. They might have started initiating it.
Yeah.
I thought that lobola is not just about the feasting, but actually the completion of the payment of that lobola. And I'm interested to find out if the law in itself had consultations with traditional practitioners to actually validate their interpretation of what lobola is. But we'll find out as part of our debate. Promise Makunyane is going to join us, an author and podcaster. And also we're going to have a different view from Mkhulu Nobamba Zulu, who's a marriage counselor and founder of Kwa Nobamba Family Spiritual and Mental Wellness Institute on this one. What's your take on that one? WhatsApp us on it. Let's move on right now and get the latest news.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Benjamin. Looking at your top stories, Zimbabwean opposition leader Nelson Chamisa returns to active politics. And 15 people have died off the province of Basilan in the Philippines. Your latest news. Greetings to our listeners. Zimbabwean opposition leader Nelson Chamisa has announced a return to active politics. This is 2 years after stepping away from the Citizens Coalition for Change. Chamisa has launched what he calls Agenda 2026, a citizens movement aimed at addressing what he describes as a deep governance crisis marked by disputed election, corruption and state capture. Zimbabwean political analyst Tendai Mbofana elaborates.
What is it in this movement that will be different from a political party? A movement is not necessarily in absence of a political party. We can talk about the nationalist movements, liberation movements, but there was ZANU, there was APU. Those were political parties with structures, with constitutions, with executives. So we want to see what type of movement that is planning to bring about, because already there are indications that there will not be any structures. The same problem that we witnessed when the CCC or the Citizens Coalition for Change was hijacked and dismantled, and Chamisa himself decided to then take his sabbatical. There is nothing that cannot be hijacked.
A migrant has been rescued and 50 others are feared drowned after a boat sank in the Mediterranean. The man had been in the sea for 24 hours and said he believed everyone else on the vessel had died. According to the Alarm Phone Group, which runs an emergency hotline for migrants, the boat had come from Tunisia, adding a common departure point for migrants risking the dangerous journey to reach Europe. The man was rescued by a merchant ship of Tunisia and brought to Malta for medical treatment. Tension remains high across Uganda following the disputed presidential election earlier this month. Reports say soldiers raided the home of opposition leader Bobi Wine, assaulting his wife and seizing personal property. Uganda's military chief Muhoozi Kainerugaba, who is also President Yoweri Museveni's son, has demanded that Wine surrenders to the police or he will be treated as a rebel. Mike Arereng reports.
It is true, Barbara Chagulani, the wife of Robert Chagulani Stenkamu, the leader of the oppositional National Unity Platform, is currently admitted at St. Francis Hospital in Zambia, in Kampala, after being seriously injured by soldiers who raided their residence in Mapere, a suburb of Kampala City. They vandalized property. Barbara Chagulani, the hospital bed, as she was addressing the news reporter, she said that she was beaten by the soldiers after refusing to unlock her phone.
The Madlanga Commission of Inquiry has resumed its hearing in Pretoria, South Africa today. 2 witnesses are expected to appear. The commission is probing allegations of criminality, corruption and political interference in the criminal justice system. The KwaZulu-Natal Province Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi made the allegations last year. Jeremy Michaels explains.
The Madlanga Commission will today, that's Monday the 26th of January, hold its first public hearing for 2026. Following the testimony in December last year of Police Minister Senzo Mchunu regarding the disbandment of the Political Killings Task Team, the Commission's hearing on Monday will continue with that theme and evidence related to political interference. 2 new witnesses are due to take the stand today.
And lastly, at least 15 people have died after a passenger ferry sank off the province of Basilan in the Philippines. More than 300 have been rescued, but a search is continuing for dozens who are still missing. The BBC's Nick Marsh reports.
The ferry left the southwestern tip of Mindanao Island on Sunday night. In the early hours of Monday morning, it issued a distress signal just off the coast of Baluk, a small island in Basilan province. Videos on social media show survivors shouting for help in the dark and being lifted to safety by the Coast Guard. Many have been taken to small local hospitals, which, according to staff, are becoming overwhelmed.
Recapping on your top stories, Zimbabwean opposition leader Nelson Chamisa has announced a return to active politics. This is 2 years after stepping away from the Citizens Coalition for Change. Chamisa has launched what he calls Agenda 2026, a citizens' movement aimed at addressing what he describes as a deep governance crisis marked by disputed election corruption and state capture. Channel Africa News, I'm Onele Tsinsi.
SABC News. The African Perspective. Get Channel Africa on DSTV Audio Bouquet. Channel 802. On the Move with Benjamin and Palesa every weekday on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
We are in the second hour of On the Move this Monday morning. Hopefully you're having a good one so far. We are as well. And of course, joining you in the next 3 hours. In this hour of the show, we're looking at a law that is part of South Africa's system. And that's a marriage law that says that if you have an anti-nuptial contract signed after a customary marriage, those are invalid unless they undergo judicial approval under the Matrimonial Property Act. Recently, what's been trending, we've been seeing the case of popular international global DJ Black Coffee and his ex-wife in and out of court for their divorce settlement. And the issue there was that they had a prenup, but they signed their prenup after Lobola negotiations, and essentially what is a customary marriage here in South Africa. And people are like, well, what does this actually mean? And does this mean that the law is using our traditions and our customs in a way that doesn't really suit us? That's a debate we'll be having in today's African View. Do uniform marriage laws help protect spouses, or do they erode valued cultural norms? Stay with us and of course participate in this debate. We'd love to hear your say on this one. I know it's a very, very interesting one as well.
Yeah, it gets heated all the time in these debates, and we want you to also be part of them. It's a great way for you to tell us your side. So remember, we've got that WhatsApp number +2783 288 6684 where you can stay connected.
Your Holangana, your waist. Now I'm a hope I'm a new baby. I never seen another you, baby. I got my eyes on you. Yeah, I pull up on you. Yeah, I feel like I know you. Champagne wanna pour for you. When you move on like so. So let me put my hands on your waist, girl. I love how you shaking, more than you killing with a different style. Every time you bust a wine, so fine, you already know. Baby, so when you're Natasha, when you're Bukula, I'm a best like I feel like you. Wanna watching guy in your machine, go she lulupa. In a sauce, and a sauce, and a sauce, and a left. Wala, 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 fire, papa. Wala for the thing you buy, na papa. Somebody's doctor, find mommy, water.
Hey, that is Bien with Adinkunle Gold and Shine TTW with the one titled Wala. Let's take a break. We'll be back with our debate.
Darubini ya Afrika na I am Henry Shakif.
Deogratus Bwire, wewe kama mkurugenzi wa shirika la kutetea haki za binadamu kutoka kule Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. Maandamano yameendelea kwa siku ya pili. Nini kinaendelea?
Kwanza mimi ningependa tusiliweke kama wafuasi wa upinzani. Kwa sababu kiukweli mimi nilipata kidogo kushuhudia watu waliokuwa wanapita barabarani hawakuwa kwa namna yoyote ile wamebeba bendera ya chama chochote cha upinzani.
Umezungumzia swala zima vitu ambavyo havijakaa sawa vinapaswa kurekebishwa. Vitu hivyo ni nini?
Hiyo vitu ambavyo havijakaa sawa tayari nimeshavisema huko. Najua kumekuwepo na mtiririko wa matukio mengi sana. Watu ambao wanakuwa wanapinga masuala kadha wa kadha ambayo yanaonekana kufanywa na vyombo vya dola kwenye mitandao au hata pia nje, wamekuwa wakichukuliwa hatua.
Darubini ya Afrika kila Jumatatu hadi Ijumaa kuanzia saa 11 kamili hadi saa 12 kamili jioni majira ya Afrika ya Kati.
Step into the heart of the day on the move with Palesa and Benjamin.
It is time for the African View. That is our debate feature here on The Move. And today we're looking at law as part of the debate. South Africa's Constitutional Court has recently ruled that anti-nuptial contracts signed after a customary marriage are invalid unless they undergo judicial approval under the Matrimonial Property Act. And in practical terms, this means that if a couple first married under customary law, typically recognized automatically as a marriage in community of property, they can't later override that marital property regime simply by signing a civil anti-nuptial contract without court oversight. And this has sparked a lot of debate here in South Africa. Of course, laws all across the continent coexist with customary norms and different laws for customary as well as statutory law. And today we're looking at this as the debate topic. Do uniform marriage laws help protect spouses, or do they erode valued cultural norms? Well, helping us in today's debate is Promise Makunyane, who's an author and podcaster who herself changed her marriage contract form in community of property to out of community of property, and she explores this in a book that she's launching. We're also joined by Umkhulu Nobamba Zulu, someone who is not a stranger to the show, marriage counselor and founder of Kwanobamba Family Spiritual and Mental Wellness Institute. Thank you to both of you for joining us this morning. But I'm going to start with you, Promise. Let's hear your opening statements on this particular debate and what your thoughts are on whether or not uniform marriage laws help protect spouses or whether they erode valued cultural norms. Good morning.
Morning, Palesa. Thank you so much for this platform. Good morning to every listener and every viewer. My name is Promise Makunyane, as they've already said. I truly believe that uniform laws are here to actually protect spouses within marriages, especially women, and any spouse that is economically vulnerable, I do not think at any point, shape or form, the existence of uniform laws are here to erode our cultural norms, but instead they are here to create a safety net for especially women, and let me tell you, I myself have changed my own marital contract from in community to out of community, and it was not because of the badness that is happening in my marriage, but it was to protect. It was a vision for where we are going in my household. So I truly believe that uniform laws are here to protect the much more vulnerable spouse within the marriage, which is most cases the woman. So I truly believe the uniform laws can work hand in hand with our culture. As far as culture informs how we should get married, the laws, the government need to govern how should anything go wrong, what needs to happen that is going to equally protect the spouse, especially the wife. So I truly am in support of the uniform law, not because I'm a woman, but because I stand purely for equality. Women in marriages, they sacrifice themselves, as much as now we've got a lot of working wives, but let me tell you, even the working wives still get home to do their chores, still get home to take care of their kids, as opposed to the husband. So these laws are very important for the wives especially, but in a nutshell, just for both spouses to equally benefit.
All right, let's see the other side of this conversation. Mkhulu Nobamba Zulu is there on the line. What's your take on this topic?
Good morning to Mama Kunyani and the listeners out there. I think my starting point is, before we can even talk about what happens and what does not happen in marriages, when people get married, do they even know what they're doing? Do people understand what marriage means? Because that's the starting point. That's where we need to start. People get married out of excitement, out of all sorts of things, but mostly they don't get married because they understand what marriages mean. That is why today the rate of divorce is so high, and people now need to protect themselves. I mean, there wouldn't be any need for any spouse to protect themselves if they understood before they got married why they are getting married and what it means. So today, we have made marriage look like a transaction, that you are doing a business deal, where you need to be protected, because divorce is always ultimate in most marriages. So people get married knowing that they're going to divorce. So that is why they see a need to protect themselves. The Constitutional Court has not done anything out of the ordinary. They were just reminding us that customary marriage is legal and it exists, and that people tend to jump around and want to replace our culture with the Western culture, or maybe because Africans don't have enough confidence about their own cultures, that when you get married customarily, you still feel a need to go and sign some contracts or do some other kinds of marriages, maybe to be sure that you are really married. There's many people I know who are married customarily, and they live in harmony. And if you read the Customary Marriage Act 120 of 1998, it protects the vulnerable people. That is the reason why that act, why there was a need for that act. So it does everything that any marriage is supposed to be doing, but people still go out after getting married. Culturally, they still want to go and sign new contracts and all that. So I think it's good that we've had this case, Yabo Black Coffee, so that it can educate people about the confidence in your own culture, and also understanding marriages before we get into marriages. Don't try to understand marriage when you are already in trouble. It's nicer to understand what marriage means in my culture.
Yeah.
Before you get into the marriage.
Well,
that's my starting point.
Let's bring it back here, Kulu. I think that's a great starting point for both of you. But we have very varied cultures here in South Africa. And all of them might be similar in some sort of way, but they also have their differences and their own little micro laws within it. So do you think having one standardized law, is in line with that? Or does it erode the fact that, our cultures are there and they're not the same? Should we have different laws for different cultures? How do you think about, that line between what law is and what culture actually looks like?
Okay. Look, I don't think our cultures are different. What is different is customs. It's the practice. Our cultures are the same. African culture is the same culture. The practice is different according to ego. So we need to understand that. One of the reasons why your Indian community, your your Arabs, Islamic community, your Chinese community, and the Jewish community are so strong and powerful. It's because they believe in their own culture and they practice their own culture to the latter. From birth of a child to marriage, even to death, that's what they practice. Their culture is their religion. With us Africans, we are made to choose between two things. Your own culture, you are choosing between your own identity and somebody else's identity, and you end up finding yourself practicing both your culture and somebody else's culture. That is why we get so confused. That is why Africa is such a weak continent, because we're not sure of ourselves. We should be the ones who are strengthening the cultural marriage by designing laws. We are in parliament now, by designing laws that will protect the vulnerable, not go and borrow from another culture so we can protect our own people. Because that's what we're doing now. If you're saying you must get married culturally, customarily, and also get married in a Western way, because you want to protect your vulnerable people, it means then you do not have confidence in your own culture, and it means we can't sit down as Africans and say, now that there is divorce and now that our women are vulnerable, maybe they are the biggest losers when we don't protect them. What laws can we put in place to make sure we protect them, but still the marriage becomes a single culture marriage? Because we take our marriage from our foundation. Marriage is not just an idea that came out. Marriage comes from culture and it is very spiritual. That is why we go through the processes of lobola. That is why umakoti mayengeniswe akhishwa kube sibayeni azongeniswe ekhaya. Process yakhona, there's customs that we follow.
All right, Mkhulu, I'm going to stop you there for a bit. We need to take a break and we'll come back with Promise Makunyane and Mkhulu Nobamba Zulu, as well as you. Let's find out where you stand in today's debate. Do uniform marriage laws help protect spouses, or do they erode valued cultural norms?
Conversations are happening, and Channel Africa is at the heart of them. We tell the African story with clarity, pride, and purpose, reaching audiences that matter to your brand. Partner with us and connect your business with listeners across borders in multiple languages and markets. For partnership opportunities, sponsorship, or sales, email us at partnership@channelafrica.co.za. Channel Africa, the African perspective. On the Move, weekdays, 9 a.m. to midday. Only on Channel Africa. #On the Move.
We're having a very nuanced debate today, right here on The African View, speaking to our guests who are helping us understand this question. Do uniform marriage laws help protect spouses, or do they erode valued cultural norms? We are joined by Promise Makunyane, author and podcaster, and Mkhulu Nobamba Zulu is a marriage counselor and founder of KwaNobamba Family Spiritual and Mental Wellness Institute. Coming back to you, Promise, it's an interesting presentation from both of you and the reasons why, and I think they're very different in their backdrop, right? Because Mkhulu Nobamba Zulu is saying these things are happening at times because of a misunderstanding of our own cultures, but also not understanding what the union of marriage is. But do you think it's more than just what marriage is, that we have to have this kind of uniform laws that protect us in marriage?
I was listening to Mkhulu, of which I 100% agree with a lot of things that she said. However, I truly believe that culture needs to evolve in some way, shape, or form. And we're not saying it needs to evolve and adapt to what is happening now because it's going to lose its essence. However, it needs to understand that the people that live within it have evolved, Back in the days, our parents, our mothers were not working, right? And our dads were the ones that were working. Now we've got wives that are out there working just as much as the husbands are working, meaning that a lot of cultural norms, a lot of how we did things need to really evolve, So I really believe that there need to be uniform laws that now protecting their union, because it's no longer the same. As much as we got married, we are lobolat, we understand everything that has to do within the marriage. However, we are different people now. I'm not my mother, Back then, my mother was home doing nothing. Now I'm in the city working, just as much as my husband is in the city working. So what now are we going? Now when we've got issues, we don't even go back home anymore, because now our parents don't really understand the dynamics that we are living in as the new generation, So I really, really believe that we should preserve culture, yes. However, we also need the laws to correct justice, and especially when it comes to the wives.
Promise, but isn't that asserting what Mkhulu Nobamba Zulu was saying that it feels like marriage now has become a transaction of sorts? Are you not validating that point?
Not really a transactional of some sort. It's just different dynamics now. It shouldn't really be we shouldn't really call it a transaction now, because women have evolved, because women have stepped in their power. Women have realized who they've always been,
Okay.
So name it.
Sure.
Sorry, we cannot name it to be transactional just because women have stepped in their power.
Mkhulu, do you have something to say on what Promise is saying? Her interactions are like, well, it doesn't mean it's just transactional, but because there's so many things that have changed in this day and age, there is reason and purpose for laws to assure that everyone is protected, whether or not those marriages end.
Yeah. First, the laws should be made by us as Africans. We are in parliament. So we need to strengthen the laws to support our culture and make sure that culture also becomes fair, to the vulnerable people, like our promise says, the women. Yeah, we all know their story. But we are in charge, we are in parliament now as Africans, and we keep borrowing, even if we can just make sure that our own laws suit our culture, but they still protect the vulnerable. Secondly, the reason why I keep saying, do people even know why they're getting married? Do people need marriage? Maybe we need to ask that question, because marriage has become so dodgy that people now need to protect themselves left, right, and center. It has no meaning anymore. What is marriage? Is it you are marrying someone because you need conjugal rights, or you are marrying someone because you just need a companion, someone to walk around with in the park? So what do we really get married? We need to ask ourselves that question as Africans, because we're getting more and more confused. And I can see how we're getting confused. In most cases, you see, our promise said culture evolves. Yeah, I understand culture evolves. Culture it must always suit that particular generation, right? But it doesn't mean it must change. It must be replaced by another culture. It must be strengthened. We need to be able to fix the things that are wrong so that it becomes fair to everyone, but it's still our culture. If you look at the nations that I've just quoted, your Jewish people, your Arabs, your Chinese and Asians and all that, they don't move away from their culture, but they make sure that slowly they are introducing the laws that protect the culture, but also protect the vulnerable and make sure that culture becomes fair. Most of the practices that we believed were culture were not really culture. They were brought by the colonial system, and we were made to believe that is our culture. Most of the practices came with the church, not with our culture. They came with the church. The people who segregate against women it's not our culture. It's the church. But nobody wants to talk about that thing, because the church is a colonial instrument that came to distract us and destroy every little thing that we have. So we all believe that now culture is the one that is wrong, whereas everything that we've been doing, even how we were doing our marriages. The reason why we end up doing 2 weddings, because the other one is cultural, the other is Western. It's the church that influences the other, the white wedding. It's not our culture. So we need to unlearn certain things so that we can now look deep into our culture. Before I came here, I looked at the act, the Customary Marriage Act. It's so balanced because it is now dealing with the issue of vulnerability, making sure that it protects our mothers. Yeah. Remember, I'm speaking as a man, but I have a mother. I have a sister who needs to be protected from this.
All right.
So when I marry my sister away, the expectation is that she will be treated fairly wherever she goes.
All right, I think we have to leave this one hanging because we've run out of time, unfortunately. But just quickly and very briefly, I want to come back to you quickly. Promise, let us know a little bit about your book in just 30 seconds. We need to go to the news.
So my book is really about a woman who is about identity, resilience, and purpose. A woman who stepped into her purpose. It's launching on the 6th of February in collaboration with the University of South Africa Library. So everybody can get the book on www.thebrokenpromise.co.za. Whether you are married, not married, divorced, in between, please get my book. It is a book that is going to help you navigate the stage that you are in as a woman. But otherwise, see you at the book launch at UNISA.
All right, this debate is a bit of a cliffhanger because it's a lot of questions that are still unresolved. But thank you, Promise Makunyane, for giving us your time, author and podcast, and also author. Mkhulu Nobamba Zulu, thank you as well for always joining us with your insights, marriage counselor and founder of Kwanobamba Family, Spiritual and Mental Wellness Institute. Let's quickly move on. Give us your thoughts via WhatsApp. But right now, let's get Musibudi back to give us the latest sports
on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Benjamin. We'll start here. So Stade Milan moved to the top of Group D of the Total Energies CAF Champions League. This with a composed 2-0 victory over Petro de Luanda of Angola in Bamako on Sunday, capitalizing on costly defensive mistakes to move clear at the top of the table at the halfway stage of the competition. Meanwhile, JS Kabylie managed to secure a point against Moroccan side AS FAR, while Tunisian giants Esperance secured a vital win over Simba at home on match day 3 of the Total Energies CAF Champions League group stages. Meanwhile, RS Bakan were also in action against the reigning African champions Pyramids FC of Egypt in another closely contested affair that ended goalless in Bakan. At the same time, Power Dynamos as well as Rivers United claimed their first points of the group stage campaign, playing out to a goalless draw in Ndola on Saturday, a result, by the way, that keeps both sides rooted to the bottom of Group A at the halfway mark of the tournament. Well, Kaizer Chiefs co-coach Khalil Ben Yusuf has emphasized the importance of prioritizing results over good play, especially on a challenging pitch after they registered their first win in the ongoing CAF Confederation Cup group stages campaign. Now, Chiefs defeated Zesco United of Zambia 1-0 in their first win against a Zambian team in a CAF interclub competition. This match was played at the Levi Mwana Wasa Stadium in Ndola yesterday. So Chiefs, by the way, managed to score the only goal in the first game, in the first half, as early as the second minute through Pule Modi's strike. Now, Ben Yusuf says after seeing the state of the pitch, they decided to adopt this business-like approach in this game.
Yesterday, game -2, I think we make our training session in the pitch, and we discovered that the pitch is so difficult to play football in. So for that we have to manage how we play different football. You know that we are a technical team, but with this kind of pitch is dangerous to play football because each ball you have to make 3 or 4 control, then you can play before. Also, we was more focused in the FIFA break about the strategic ball.
Well, it was a third straight loss in Group D for Zesco United, and they remain rooted at the bottom of the log, with Ben Youssef avoiding calling them the weakest link in this group, as they are set to meet the same opposition next week Sunday in the return leg in South Africa's KwaZulu-Natal province.
There is not in football easy for game or difficult game or all the game. It's difficult. Also, it can be easy. It's depending how you prepare the plan of the game, and also it's depending from the performance of the player. If the plan of the game that you prepared and the execution of this plan in the game, it's minimum 90% they do the player, so I think it will be easy. But if you find your players bad day or the performance wasn't good, so it will be difficult.
On to tennis news now. Lorenzo Mossetti vowed earlier today to push Novak Djokovic to his maximum after setting up an Australian Open quarterfinal against the 24-time major champion. Now, the Italian fifth seed powered past ninth seed Taylor Fritz at 6-2, 7-5 and 6-4 and meets a player he has faced 10 times before and only beaten once, and that was back in 2023. Now, Djokovic, a 10-time winner in Melbourne, will have the benefit of an extra day's rest. This after his fourth-round opponent, Jakub Minsk, withdrew from the Australian Open with an abdominal injury. So Mossetti is looking forward to that quarter-final clash with Novak Djokovic.
Well, I mean, Novak, we played many times, and every time it's a lesson, first of all, and you know, it's such an honor to share the court against him every time. You know, I leave the court with something, and that's something, of course, that I really think that helping me, you know, to try to win against him.
And finally, South Africa's under-19 men's cricket team have been knocked out of the ongoing ICC Under-19 Cricket World Cup after a 6-wicket victory to Australia in Windhoek, Namibia on Sunday. So needing a victory to stay in contention for a semi-final place, the young Proteas collapsed to 118 all out, with the Australian side having eased to 122 for 4 in the 33rd over. Now, JJ Basson impressed with the figures of 3 for 41, and Bayanda Majola claimed figures of 1 for 23, but their efforts weren't enough to defend a low total. Now, Stephen Hogan, meanwhile, top scored for Australia with 43 runs, while Alex Lee Young as well as Jaden Draper guarded their side home unbeaten. There are also Australia looking to qualify for the semi-finals of the ongoing Under-19 Cricket World Cup, co-hosted by Zimbabwe and Namibia. It is 10:37 a.m. Central African Time, and concludes your sports news this hour. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, do remember to send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Call us as well on +27 11714 4459. I'm back with the final sports update for the morning in the next hour. For Channel Africa Sport, I am Musibudi Makura.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Je, una jambo lolote akilini mwako? Je, una shauku kuhusu masuala muhimu? Na je, una maoni ambayo unataka yasikike? Kweli, hili jukwaa ni la kwako. Piga simu au tuandikie kwenda WhatsApp namba alama ya kujumulisha 2760552594 na tutakupigia simu.
Mtangazaji wa habari zetu za Afrika Kusini mjini Johannesburg.
Hivyo unaweza kuwa mshirika kwenye matangazo yetu. Sio mazungumzo tu, ni fursa yako ya kuchangia maoni yako na kushirikiana na jumuiya ya wasikilizaji wanaotamani mtazamo wako. Tufuate kwenye mitandao ya kijamii. Tembelea tovuti yetu www.channelafrica.co.za na uwe tayari kushiriki na kuchangia maoni yako kwenye Channel Africa. Channel Africa, mtazamo wa Kiafrika.
Thank you for that sports update. Let's move on and get our latest in business.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Palesa. Good morning. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa says the country's economic recovery is gathering momentum as it has posted growth for 4 consecutive quarters. In his weekly address to the nation, Ramaphosa also noted a steady reduction in unemployment. Stats SA's recent data also shows that levels of poverty and inequality have declined. Ndebo Mugobo has more.
In his weekly address to the nation, the president says the local economy is showing signs of modest recovery and increased resilience, characterized by GDP growth exceeding expectations, improved consumer sentiment and rising capital investment. He says confidence in the economy is rising, with the stock exchange performing well and with the inflation rate the lowest in 2 decades. And for 2026, President Ramaphosa implored his administration to double down on efforts to grow investment and create jobs, with the annual Cabinet Lekgotla taking place on Wednesday to outline the actions that will be taken across government. The president said they will work hard to translate this into long-term gains for the economy.
The South African Federation of Trade Unions, SAFTU, says it is skeptical to challenge President Cyril Ramaphosa's decision to approve a 3.8% salary increase for top political office bearers in court. The increases will cover remuneration packages for the president, deputy president, ministers, deputy ministers, premiers, MECs, and members of parliament. SAFTU has criticized this announcement. Ramaphosa also increased salaries of public office bearers by 4.1%. This applies to judges, magistrates, traditional leaders, and members of independent constitutional institutions. The Federation's General Secretary Zulinzima Vavi says the courts would be conflicted by the case.
Even if we were to launch a court application to ask the judges to set this one aside, we don't think that they will do anything, bearing in mind the precedent that they've created in the past. And you can imagine now if we were to do the same thing when they will be conflicted by the decision. Surely the Constitutional Court judges are smiling at this 4.1% they are going to be receiving, and they will do nothing to review and unpack, reconsider the whole 3.8 remuneration.
Germany's Special Envoy for Just Energy Transition Partnership, Rainer Bach, says they remain firmly committed to international climate cooperation. He briefed the media in Pretoria as Europe's largest economy has allocated close to $3.75 billion to support Pretoria's bid to have clean energy. Bach further says they will commit regardless of the shifting global political dynamics.
This partnership goes back to 2021, when all countries, including South Africa, which is one of the big emitters of greenhouse gases, had to make a pledge. Where do we want to be 2030? And South Africa at that time said we can be even more ambitious if we get international support.
South African political party, the African National Congress, has set up a team tasked with ensuring the financial viability of municipalities. This was announced by ANC NEC member and COGTA Deputy Minister Dixon Masemula. The task team forms part of efforts to review the performance of local government. The party is planning extensive engagements in the next 4 weeks across all provinces on the white paper on local government. Masemula says they want the legislation to be adopted by cabinet by the end of March. He was speaking on the sidelines of the party's NEC Lekgotla in Boksburg, Ekurhuleni.
And that task team is mandated to begin to look at the actual review of the funding model of local government. So that process, working together through Department of Treasury and ourselves and the ANC, will be working on the finalization of that process once the analysis of the task team will have been produced as a report that begins to work on alternative policy options on how do we strengthen funding model of municipalities.
The Chinese Foreign Ministry says arrangements between China and Canada to address bilateral economic and trade issues are not targeted at any third party in response to a U.S. threat to impose 100% tariffs on Canada if it finalizes a trade deal with Beijing. The ministry's spokesperson Zhuo Jiakun says China holds that countries should handle relations with one another with a win-win rather than zero-sum mindset and through cooperation rather than confrontation. U.S. President Donald Trump made the tariff threat over the weekend and warned Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney that a deal would endanger his country. Let's look at the markets. $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,420 naira, Botswana 13 pula 45, in Kenya 128 shilling 42, Zambia 19 kwacha 52. BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil is at 5 real 29, Russia 75 rubles 42, India 91 rupee 54, China 61 97, South Africa 16 rand 6 cents. $1 is 73 pence to the British pound, 85 to the euro. Commodities, gold is trading at $5,093, platinum at $2,869 per ounce. The price of Brent crude oil at $66.29 a barrel. For any business stories you'd like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za, or you can call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I am Chanduko Ligegi.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
SABC2 is stepping into a new era, Papa, where every moment tells a story. A new era of conversations with Enklik Let's Connect at 4:30 p.m., bringing real talk and South African voices. A new era of Afrikaans news at 6:30 p.m., trusted information in the language you love. A new era of family entertainment, Omar Sari at 7 p.m., celebrating humor, tradition and togetherness. A new era of excitement in a new time slot, Deal or No Deal at 7:30 p.m., bringing primetime thrills home. A new era of drama, Pimville at 9 p.m., a brand new powerful telenovela from Soweto that grips the heart. And a new era of flavor with a new season of Color Your Plate with Koo, Sundays at 7 p.m. A new era begins on SABC2.
Moving to a world of African music. This is Channel Africa.
Hey, it still sounds fresh and sounds super, super needed. Easy busi. So, hey, for others, not just for our blessings, right? That's Nufundo Mo taking us to 10 minutes to 11 o'clock Central African time. We'll be back after this.
Africa, meet Abedi.
Yeah, that's me.
Abedi is a music lover through and through.
I really love African music.
He's got a taste for all kinds of tunes and spends his days listening to Channel Africa. Guess what? He didn't know.
Okay.
Channel Africa wants to help Abedi and all music lovers everywhere to discover even more incredible music. That is why Channel Africa is calling on all African musicians to submit their music. Musicians, remember to give us all your relevant information. Make your submissions at music@channelafrica.co.za. Submissions are your chance to be heard on radio. But sadly, they do not guarantee that you will be playlisted. All submissions will be carefully reviewed to see if they meet our station's requirement. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Ritmos e Cultura, com Jacob Tivani.
Meus ouvintes do Ritmos e Cultura, hoje em linha com uma das grandezas da música moçambicana, porque não? Ele que é um dos kings da marrabenta, uma bermuda in the building.
É um prazer enorme estar a fazer parte deste programa. Deixe-me só saudar. Boa tarde a todos os ouvintes que me ouvem neste preciso momento. Meu nome é Uma Bermuda, de Alau Fanelo Estarapo, Gajo de Água da Canhela é Mabiscato. Eu vou saudar de uma maneira diferente. Ah, tita buia, mwanango, tiduma tifika giane. Ah, tita buia, mwanango, tiduma tifika giane. Ani motive lo ababa yena otiva mina haikonama. Ani motive lo anona yena otiva wahimbo watwa. Cá estou eu, irmão, para conversarmos, para falarmos um pouco de tudo. Estou aqui, estou aberto. Eu estou muito feliz porque é a primeira vez que eu falo nesta rádio, falo para os ouvintes, então estou muito feliz.
Ritmos e Cultura com Jacob Tivani. Todos os domingos, das 20 às 21 horas.
The rhythm of Africa, the pulse of the continent. This is Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Hey, that's Justin Vibes with the Diamonds of Guijo and Azul Serene with Uzo Zisola. 56 minutes past 10 o'clock Central African Time. And carrying on that conversation we had earlier on, it's interesting the fact that, the law is starting to recognize traditional practice. And it was great to hear a traditionalist saying this law is actually well balanced and is considering the cultural nuances that we are seeing in our different cultures here in South Africa, because we've got so many languages, so many cultures that we need to consider.
Yeah, absolutely. And even though our customs differ, I think this is why it's important for the law to come in, right? Because, as Mkulu said, it's like we have the same culture, but we have different customs. And when it comes to marriage, I mean, I've been to a few weddings, and if you go to a wedding of different people and they observe different languages or different customs, then you'll see how, the nuances are and how they do things a little bit differently. So you can't create 13 different laws for each and every traditional custom. And that's why you have to find a middle ground. I think people just need to educate themselves before taking that step, because some people are like, yeah, but I wasn't intentional. Something has been trending. Like one of the reasons, because Black Coffee has been on social media and he posted a few things, and he was like, well, when we did that customary marriage, there was no intention for marriage. And people posted pictures from that day. The Entlembali was wearing traditional attire. He was dressed up. There were people. They were even sitting at a head table like you do at a wedding. There was decorations. There were people there. What did you call these people there to observe? What was this thing that we were observing? Because either way, when you go to or when you decide with your partner, let's go ahead with lobola negotiations. What are you negotiating? You're moving towards marriage. And I think already with that first thought in mind, even before you go to that lobola negotiation, that first day, what is the intention? The intention is that you guys are trying to get married. And before even doing that first thing, you have the intention to get married. So read up on the law and do exactly that. Because once you take that first step, that's exactly what you're doing. You're taking that step. You are getting married.
It's interesting that you say that. I think it's important to clarify the law because generations have different interpretations of it, right? So I think that uniformity is important. To a certain degree, I hear what Black Coffee could be saying, to be saying the fact that this is a negotiation process. It's not a marriage in itself. This occasion, according to maybe others' interpretation, was the finale of negotiating our marriage. We hadn't actually gotten married at that point. And that's where many people have gotten it wrong in the past. I'm not saying that he's right to think that, but many people have separated the lobola process from the marriage occasion in itself, because I think it's happened so many times where people think it's the signing process that's the marriage in itself and not actually ensuing the negotiation. So I think it's a good one that we have this clarity in our laws so people know that it's not divided. When you start initiating a marriage process, that's when the marriage actually starts. What's your take on that? Do you think that's what it is? Maybe we have a different interpretation. Maybe you have a better one of this new law. Maybe you're saying, guys, no, that's not what lobola is. It's not marriage in itself. This law is probably taking things in its own hands. What's your take in it? +2783 288 6684. That's where you can find us on our WhatsApp number. You can send us your voice note, or you can even send us a text there. Well, we're moving into our final hour. Let's bring back Onel Nsinzi to give us the latest news.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Looking at your top stories, Zimbabwean opposition leader returns to active politics, and Russia consistently abusing Interpol wanted lists. Your latest news. Greetings to our listeners. Zimbabwean opposition leader Nelson Chamisa has announced a return to active politics. This is 2 years after stepping away from the Citizens Coalition for Change. Chamisa has launched what he calls Agenda 2026, a citizens' movement aimed at addressing what he describes as a deep governance crisis marked by disputed elections, corruption and state capture. Zimbabwean political analyst Tendai Mpofana explains.
What is it in this movement that will be different from a political party? A movement is not necessarily an absence of a political party. We can talk about the nationalist movements, liberation movements, but there was ZANU, there was APU, those were political parties with structures, with constitutions, with executives. So we want to see what type of movement that is planning to bring about, because already there are indications that there will not be any structures. The same problem that we witnessed when the CCC or the Citizens Coalition for Change was hijacked and dismantled, and Chamisa himself decided to then take a sabbatical. There is nothing that cannot be hijacked.
A migrant has been rescued and 50 others are feared drowned after a boat sank in the Mediterranean. The man had been in the sea for 24 hours and said he believed everyone else on the vessel had died. According to the Alarm Phone Group, which runs an emergency hotline for migrants, the boat had come from Tunisia, adding a common departure point for migrants risking the dangerous journey to reach Europe. The man was rescued by a merchant ship off Tunisia and brought to Malta for medical treatment. Security strategist Andy Mashaile in South Africa has urged government to do more to protect the country's citizens from crime, including the one that some undocumented migrants commit. This follows the displacement of hundreds of Sporong residents in Randfontein, west of Johannesburg, after fleeing illegal miners' alleged violence and intimidation. Mashaile says all criminal elements should be harshly dealt with.
We do not have a problem when people from other countries come here to eke out a living. But the moment they carry illegal automatic rifles like the AK-47 that they use in conducting their illegal and criminal activities, we want government to arrest those individuals, to prosecute them, to incarcerate them and send them back to their home country to serve the jail sentences.
The Madlanga Commission of Inquiry has resumed its hearings in South Africa, Pretoria, with the first witness being Major General Anthony Gapol, the active head of detectives in the KwaZulu-Natal province. The commission is probing allegations of criminality, corruption and political interference in the police and criminal justice system of the country. The KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi made the allegations last year. Gapol outlined his professional experience within the SAPS.
Chair, I currently am serving 35 years of service in the South African Police Service. Between 1990 up and until 1997, I was on the lower ranks of operational work at different police stations. But from the year 2001, specifically, I then joined what we would call the national components of the organization, working in different environments at 2001. Some of them being the National Inspectorate here in Pretoria.
Lastly, documents leaked suggest Russia is consistently abusing Interpol wanted lists to target critics abroad. Interpol says in hundreds of cases, Moscow broke its rules forbidding member countries to use the organization's earmarked people for politics, religious or racial purposes. The BBC's Natasha Pish explains.
According to the leaked files, Russia has the highest number of complaints of any Interpol member country about its arrest requests, at least 700 over the past decade. About half of the Russian cases that were brought before the organisation's independent internal watchdog in 2024 were overturned for breaking its rules. The documents also show Russia has abused Interpol's messaging system to target people for seemingly political purposes. In one instance, Russia appears to have used it to try to find the whereabouts of a journalist who'd fled the country. Interpol says it's strengthened safeguards in recent years to prevent misuse.
Recapping on your top stories, Zimbabwean opposition leader Nelson Chamisa has announced a return to active politics. This is 2 years after stepping away from the Citizens Coalition for Change party. Channel Africa News, I am Onele Nsinsi.
SABC News. The African Perspective. We are on Open Views Audio Bouquet. Channel 628. On the Move with Benjamin and Palesa every weekday on Channel Africa, the African Perspective.
Thank you so much, Onele, for that update and wrapping that morning news for us. And we'll see you tomorrow. Time for our fitness and nutrition conversation today. Maybe you're getting bored with your gym regime and you're like, "Aye, man, I've done these things. I've been doing the same thing over and over again. But also, I feel like the things that I'm doing are just affecting one part of my body. I want to mix it up a little bit. There's this area of my body that I'm not seeing improvement in. Yeah, maybe you should consider what we're going to be talking about today. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. This is one of them. Apparently, it's one that is a training method that includes cardio, mobility, and all sorts of things, a lot of movement within it, and it's becoming very popular. We're going to be speaking to Chris Bride, head coach of the Port Elizabeth Submission Fighting Academy. Yeah, you never thought that maybe this practice would be something that could affect you in terms of exercise. Maybe you should incorporate it in your exercise routine.
Yeah, there's so many ways to keep your body moving, to keep yourself healthy, and even to reach those body goals that you want, and we're delving deeper into that. Don't forget, our WhatsApp line is still open. Whether you want to join in on the conversations of the hours before, or whether you're going into the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, +278 288 6684 is where you can find us.
Hey, that's Nigeria's new generation of Afrobeat musicians. That's Fireboy DML, and that one is titled Dopamine. It takes us to 10 minutes past 11 o'clock Central African time. This is Channel Africa.
Este é o Caleidoscópio de Canal África, com Remo Samo e João Yabalá.
A situação do ativista angolano Serrote José de Oliveira, preso desde julho, tem gerado grande preocupação internacional. Conhecido como General Nila e presidente do movimento União Nacional para a Total Revolução de Angola, Serrote iniciou uma greve de fome em protesto contra a sua prisão, que considera arbitrária. De acordo com a Amnistia Internacional, o estado de saúde do ativista está a deteriorar-se rapidamente devido à falta de acesso a cuidados médicos adequados. Para discutir o impacto deste caso e o estado da liberdade política em Angola, vamos conversar com Dito Dale, ativista e defensor dos direitos humanos.
Nós estamos diante de uma clara estratégia de aniquilar o jovem, porque quando uma pessoa está doente, deve ser assistida. Ao não proporcionar esses cuidados médicos, o que é que o regime quer? Não quer que esse jovem saia livre e com vida da prisão, quer matá-lo.
De segunda a sexta-feira, das 20 às 21 horas locais, este é o Caleidoscópio do Canal África.
Step into the heart of the day on the move with Palesa and Benjamin.
All right, let's get into our fitness and nutrition conversation. Most fitness routines tend to separate goals: strength in one day, cardio on another, mobility as an afterthought. But some training methods combine all three through constant, controlled movement. The Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is one of these. It relies on bodyweight resistance, sustained effort, and a wide range of motion, which means muscle, joints, and the cardiovascular system are all working at the same time. It's actually steadily growing and becoming very popular in different parts of the world and also the African continent, with a vibrant community and tournaments emerging in countries like South Africa, Nigeria, and Kenya, reflecting a rising interest in martial arts as both a sport and a holistic fitness practice. To speak on this one, we've got Chris Bright, who is the head coach at Port Elizabeth Submission Fighting Academy. Chris, welcome on the show.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, we all want to be karate kids, right? We've always had that kind of sentiment when we were younger, but we've always thought that, anything that has to do with martial arts is more about fighting and violence. But it's interesting to see people opening themselves up to seeing that it's actually good as a form of training.
Yeah, absolutely. It's taken a bit of a different route from a lot of other martial arts, because it's really just it's a community-based thing. And I think when people leave school, a lot of adults don't do any sport. They don't have community, maybe except for church or whatever they do. So it's something you can do till later in life as well, and it stays kind of functional. So you're always working. It's like a gym workout plus a martial arts, all kind of wrapped up into one.
Now, tell us what exactly this is. Maybe someone is hearing about Jiu-Jitsu for the first time. What is this practice? Where does it come from? And how does it work?
Okay, the origin story, basically, it was brought to Brazil through a Japanese judoka, and they formulated a style of grappling that could suit a slightly less athletic person. So it's very technical, based on leverage and angles and that sort of thing. Of course, it always helps to be stronger, but it's a grappling style, very similar to judo in nature, but a lot of the style is actually on the ground, where judo is about throwing somebody to the ground. And there are holds in that in judo, but a lot more of our time is spent actually on the ground, working out of positions and doing submissions.
Mm-hmm. So if you are spending so much time on the ground, how does it actually incorporate all forms of your body? Because it seems very comprehensive in the way in which you can benefit physically, but it seems like the motion is very limited, the way you're saying, or am I mistaken? Could you elaborate on the ground element?
I think Jiu-Jitsu's taken many different forms over the years. It's quite a modern art compared to a lot of martial arts. So it develops quite fast, and there's a sports element to Jiu-Jitsu, there's a self-defense element, and there's a mixed martial arts element, and they're all very different in nature and how they're used. But in terms of I would say a sports element, there might be less takedowns and it would be less self-defense orientated, but like a martial arts or a self-defense element would have a lot more like standing based stuff. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu doesn't incorporate any striking. It's purely grappling. So it's wrestling, judo, and then grappling on the ground all combined.
So which part is the exercise element of it? Because someone might not get it and say, guys, no. This doesn't sound like fitness.
Yeah, it's what we do. A portion of the class is you do a little bit of drilling. You learn how to use certain movements and they teach a skill. And then you go into live sparring. So as opposed to a lot of martial arts, like if I was teaching, I don't want to name martial arts, but a lot of martial arts are very theoretical in nature. And you can't go and spar full contact every day because you would hurt each other and knock each other out every day. And people don't want to train like that. Where jiu-jitsu, you're working against a live resisting opponent all the time. So from your first class in a lot of gyms is I'm trying to choke you and hold you down, and you're trying to choke me and hold you down, and you have to learn how to do that. So you're actually working against people's body weight, you're working against gravity, we've actually had children come to us with low muscle tone and their handwriting improves because you use so much stability and core. It's very physical.
Nice. Well, let's speak about those who want to get into like fitness this year. Usually our first train of thought is, I'm going to have to go to the gym. And then today I'm going to do cardio. Tomorrow I'm going to do arms. The following day it's going to be leg, etc. If someone is looking for an alternative, someone that doesn't really like to go to the gym, would this be a good fit for them? And could you explain to us why?
I think so. Everybody's different, and some people like karate, some people like kung fu, some people like football. So I think everybody's different. But the good thing, what I find about this is, it's an outlet physically, but also emotionally. You get to come every night to a group of friends. So we've got a lot of people in our room, and that is what really gets people to stay. So it's the community-based aspect of it, which is really nice. My mental health, I can feel like if I don't get to roll or do jiu-jitsu for a couple of days, I get very grumpy very quickly. So it actually is a very good outlet for me. And I think there's a lot of people that share the same sentiment around the world that do jiu-jitsu. And then there's other aspects to jiu-jitsu. Yeah. For example, you could go to any country in the world, and if you're a jiu-jitsu practitioner, it almost lets you get into a circle of friends where we get drop-ins and visitors from all over the world all the time. Mm-hmm. And they look us up on Google or Instagram, and they pop in and they visit us, and they've automatically, like, you kind of slot into a network of people, and there's not many other ways to do that.
That's intriguing, right? Tell us a little bit about this community, why it's growing on the continent in different parts of the world. Why are people taking a liking to jiu-jitsu?
There's so many reasons, and I think progressively, like with modern living, we spend so much time on our screens, and we become more and more isolated from each other. And the only way to do jiu-jitsu is with real human interaction. So you're in a room, actually dealing with proper people, no phone time. And then it's very cool in a sense because, like, the people that train with us, we don't know what they do. I mean, we could have people that are unemployed, or we could have a minister on the same mat, or a movie star. And then for that time that they get there, there's no hierarchy in terms of what you do in life. So like, we don't even know what people do that come to us, which is, for me, I really like that. And it's very important that no one's judged on any other basis except what they do on the jiu-jitsu mat.
Mm-hmm. We're going to take a break, Chris, then come back. I'd like us to expand on how you start on something like this, because someone like me is like, this sounds very dangerous, eh? I don't want to be harmed, or I don't want to get hurt. I just want to use this as a vessel of improving my physique. Where do you start? What would the process be? Is it dangerous? We'll ask those questions after our break.
Are you fluent in French, Chinyanja, and Kiswahili? Are you passionate about radio? And are you looking to work in South Africa? Do you have papers that qualify you to work in South Africa? In that case, we might have an opportunity for you to work for Channel Africa. Send us your CV and demo at newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Remember, if you don't hear from us within 14 days, it means you have not made it, or you have not been selected. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Palesa and Benjamin, fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa.
Maybe you told yourself that this year you wanted to try new things, especially when it comes to your fitness and your wellness. And today we're helping you do that, introducing you to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Joining us is Chris Bright, head coach at Port Elizabeth Submission Fighting Academy, helping us understand what this method of training is and how it may develop very different levels of fitness for us. Well, let's speak about that. You know, there is a community, which is great, because community is always great for mental wellness as well as fitness, physical wellness and consistency. So we've learned. But when one is trying to target a particular thing in their body using jiu-jitsu, who would this be best for? So if you don't particularly have great muscles, for example, what about your joints? Would it be good for someone who has weak joints? And who can't do jiu-jitsu, if there is anyone who can't?
Well, I think one of the jiu-jitsu taglines has always been jiu-jitsu's for everybody. I know all the sports and all the martial arts codes say the same thing, but there's many different routes you can take with jiu-jitsu. You could go try to become a world champion and become a hard-nosed competitor. We've also got 4-year-old kids on the mat taking their first steps into any martial art or sport. And we've got a 60-something-year-old member on the mat with us too. I'm not that far behind either. So, and I think a lot of people and most good jiu-jitsu communities moderate their training based on the individual, and you'll find a very soft landing if you're not physically able. People on the jiu-jitsu mats will look after you. And it's not something where, like some of the other arts are very, very hard and very, very physical. You're able to scale jiu-jitsu down to suit individuals, which is nice. I can work quite softly. I roll with children. My son's 12, and we spend time sparring on the mat, and I'm able not to hurt him when I do it. So I think it's about the screening the place that you go to and making sure that you go to the right place and getting to know and being comfortable in the environment that you go join. And that's important. There's different fields of any sports community, and just make sure whenever you join somewhere and go and you get a good first feeling and you like the people, and then you'll find a home there.
I mean, you spoke about screening where you're going to practice. What should you be looking out for to get a place that's reputable? Because there's a lot of people who claim they're good at such physical forms of martial arts, and you find out later that, no, I'm at the wrong place.
Yeah, I think you've got to trust your gut. And then, we've seen in some cases there are maybe less credible in anything than others, but there's a lot of references are pretty verifiable. So, you've just got to be comfortable in the environment that you go to. It can be difficult, and it always pays to do research on the art in general. Instead of going into any martial art and not having an expectation from the martial art at all. I think with there's so much info available online now on places like YouTube. And if you look at the model of a Brazilian jiu-jitsu or judo or wrestling gym, and when you get there, if it's completely different from what the models you've seen online and overseas, and then that might be a little bit of a red flag. But then even having said that, a lot of the new academies that are coming up, they're very small in numbers, and then they're good people, and you've got to start somewhere. So I think a lot of it is based on your own experience. If you're happy in a place and you're treated well and you're looked after and you're learning good skills, then, there's a place for everybody.
All right, Chris, thank you so much for joining us. How can people who are close to your practice find out more about the Port Elizabeth Submission Fighting Academy?
We're super easy to get hold of on the internet. Plus, I'm available, PESPO Academy on Instagram. So anyone's welcome to reach out and come try a class. But I think in all the areas, pretty much every area in every town in Port Elizabeth, every town not in the Eastern Cape, but in South Africa has a jiu-jitsu academy now. And just get on the internet, do your research, ask questions about their track record, and go give it a try.
All right, man. Thank you for speaking to us about this one and debunking some of the misconceptions we might have had on jiu-jitsu. Thank you so much, Chris, for joining Channel Africa.
You mentioned flexibility and mobility early in the
sure.
thing. I would say I'm not a good advocate for that. I can barely touch my toes. So jiu-jitsu is hard on the body.
All right, Chris, thank you so much. That's Chris Bright, head coach at Port Elizabeth Submission Fighting Academy. Well, that's a good one, isn't it? Would you ever try something like that, Bali?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you would,
I know someone, my partner does do jiu-jitsu, I
Okay.
think once a week or twice a week. So, yeah, I think
So
it's not
she
too
must
bad.
also take you to jiu-jitsu,
No, not yet.
just yoga.
Not yet, please. Not yet.
I must have a conversation with your partner very, very soon on that one.
You don't have to cry, baby. You should know it's alright. Don't let this love fade away. Yeah. Let your love be magical. Let me make it chemical. Yeah. If you be my baby girl, I will be your baby boy. Ooh, yeah. Big love, DJ love, someone. Yeah, yeah, DJ love, someone. Ooh, yeah. DJ love, someone.
Hey, love these guys. The two brothers, one a bassist, one a drummer. They make up the Cavemen, and that one was titled Me You. 28 minutes past 11 o'clock Central African time. I'll tell you something. Anything that means that I have to just like bend myself too much or physical contact with someone else, I'm just like, no.
No.
Not that kind of exercise.
So you like
exercises.
non-physical exercises,
Yeah.
and definitely not where someone else has to participate with you.
Or smack me or bend my knee or bend my arm or challenge me in some way. No, I refuse.
I think it would be great. I think if you're someone out there who doesn't like exercising and you also have like a little bit of a competitive streak, it would be a nice one to try. Also because it's not like full contact, right? And it's on the ground most of the time. So you're not like knocking each other out or like kicking one another.
It's intimate.
It's very intimate. It's like almost like wrestling, right? So you're all up within each other and you're trying to pin each other down. So maybe that if your personality is one of, a little bit competitive, it would be a great one for you because you can get a little bit of that dopamine hit, when you pin someone down and they tap out, you could feel good. And meanwhile, making your muscles stronger, making your joints stronger as well. So all in one, essentially.
All right, let us know what you think of the conversations we've been having today right here on Channel Africa. +278 288 6684. That's our new number. If you haven't saved it, make sure that you save it, and you can be in touch with us any time of the day right here on Channel Africa. It's 11:30 Central African time. Musibudi Makura is back. She's going to let us know what is happening in the sports.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thank you so much, Benjamin. A very good morning from the sports day. So Atletico Madrid is past Mallorca 3-0 to strengthen their grip on third place in La Liga. So Alexander Soloth opened the scoring after 22 minutes, pouncing on a rebound for his 7th goal of the season. And David Lopez's own goal midway through the second half then doubled the advantage before Thiago Almada sealed the win late on at the Metropolitano. So that result moves Diego Simone's side 3 points clear of Villarreal and 7 behind provincial leaders Real Madrid. Barcelona can reclaim top spot later on next weekend when they host bottom-placed Real Valladolid in the La Liga competition next week. On to some rugby news now. Zimbabwe's Benjamin Follett-Smith claimed his 3rd Sunshine Tour title with a victory at the South Sea Challenge in honour of Gary Player. So watched by Player himself at the Kalani Country Club right here in Johannesburg in South Africa. Follett-Smith surged from 3 shots back to card a final round 66 and finish on 15 under par, 1 clear of Hayden Porteous. Now his caddy Matthew Cresswell was honoured with the Sunshine Tour medallion. Now Porteous meanwhile missed a birdie putt on the last to force a playoff, settling for second on 14 under after closing 17. Meanwhile, Kieran van Wyk finished 3rd at 11 under par. Lorenzo Musetti vowed on Monday to push Novak Djokovic to his maximum after setting up an Australian Open quarterfinal against the 24-time major champion. The Italian 5th seed powered past 9th seed American Fritz to win 6-2, 7-5 and 6-4 and meets a player he has faced 10 times before, with only having beaten him once back in 2023. Now, Djokovic is a 10-time winner at Melbourne and will have the benefit of an extra day's rest after his 4th-round opponent, Jakub Menensk, withdrew from the Australian Open with an abdominal injury.
Well, I mean, Novak, we played many times, and every time it's a lesson, first of all, and you know, it's such an honor to share the court against him every time. You know, I leave the court with something, and that's something, of course, that I really think that helping me, you know, to try to win against him.
Meanwhile, Aryna Sabalenka broke Novak Djokovic's Open-era record of consecutive tie-breaks, won at Grand Slams to defeat teenage Canadian Victoria Mboko and set up a mouth-watering Australian Open quarterfinal against another of tennis rising star, 18-year-old Iva Jovic. Now, the 2-time champion won 6-1 and 7-6 on the Rotlev Arena, sealing it with her 20th tie-break triumph in a row, and is yet now to drop a set at this year's Australian Open. Meanwhile, Madison Keys says she's walking away with her head held high after her reign as Australian Open champion ended to good friend Jessica Pegula earlier today in the last round of 16. Pegula defeated the title holder and her fellow American Madison Keys 6-3 and 6-4 at a hot and sunny Melbourne Park. Now, Keys, who stunned world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka in last year's final, made 27 unforced errors to Pegula's 17 and fired down 6 double faults. Keys and Pegula are friends off the court, and they also host a podcast together. This is what Pegula had to say about beating her close friend.
I don't know. I've been playing really well, seeing the ball, hitting the ball really well this whole tournament, and I wanted to kind of stay true to that, and then just lean on a couple of things that I felt like she would do, and I felt like I came out kind of doing it pretty well, and then, you know, maybe got a couple quick points from her early on. So I just tried to, when I had that lead, just stick with that lead as much as I could. Even then, you know, she got a little rhythm coming back, but just really tried to focus on what I needed to do and patterns to look out for.
All right, so on that winning note, it concludes your sports news this morning on Channel Africa. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, do remember to send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11714 4459. For Channel Africa Sport, I am Musibu Di Makura.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective. Get Channel Africa on DSTV Audio Bouquet. Channel 802. Channel Africa is evolving, and so are you. Stay connected wherever you are with our brand new website and mobile app. Stream your favorite shows. Catch up on African news, culture, and conversations, all at your fingertips.
Africa is just a tap away.
Your world, your stories, now on the go.
Stay connected wherever you are.
Visit channelafrica.co.za or download the Channel Africa app today. Channel Africa, the African Perspective.
Hey, Chanduko Ligeke is joining us now to give us the latest business news.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Benjamin. Good morning. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa says the country's economic recovery is gathering momentum as it has posted growth for 4 consecutive quarters. In his weekly address to the nation, Ramaphosa has also noted a steady reduction in unemployment. Statistics South Africa's recent data also shows that levels of poverty and inequality have declined. Debo Mugobo has more.
In his weekly address to the nation, the president says the local economy is showing signs of modest recovery and an increased resilience, characterized by GDP growth exceeding expectations, improved consumer sentiment and rising capital investment. He says confidence in the economy is rising, with the stock exchange performing well and with the inflation rate the lowest in 2 decades. And for 2026, President Ramaphosa implored his administration to double down on efforts to grow investment and create jobs, with the annual Cabinet Lekgotla taking place on Wednesday to outline the actions that will be taken across government. The president said they will work hard to translate this into long-term gains for the economy.
The South African Federation of Trade Unions, SAFTU, says it is skeptical to challenge President Cyril Ramaphosa's decision to approve a 3.8% salary increase for top political office bearers in court. The increases will cover remuneration packages for the president, deputy president, ministers, deputy ministers, premiers, MECs, and members of parliament. SAFTU has criticized this announcement. Ramaphosa also increased salaries of public office bearers by 4.1%. This applies to judges, magistrates, traditional leaders, and members of independent constitutional institutions. The Federation's General Secretary, Zulinzima Vavi.
Even if we were to launch a court application to ask the judges to set this one aside, we don't think that they will do anything, bearing in mind the precedent that they've created in the past. And you can imagine now if we were to do the same thing when they will be conflicted by the decision. Surely the Constitutional Court judges are smiling at this 4.1% they are going to be receiving, and they will do nothing to review and unpack, reconsider the whole 3.8 remuneration.
Germany's Special Envoy for Just Energy Transition Partnership, Rainer Bach, says they remain firmly committed to international climate cooperation. He briefed the media in Pretoria as Europe's largest economy has allocated close to $3.75 billion to support Pretoria's bid to have clean energy. Bach further says they will commit regardless of shifting global political dynamics.
This partnership goes back to 2021, when all countries, including South Africa, which is one of the big emitters of greenhouse gases, had to make a pledge. Where do we want to be 2030? And South Africa at that time said we can be even more ambitious if we get international support.
The Chinese Foreign Ministry says arrangements between China and Canada to address bilateral economic and trade issues are not targeted at any third party in response to a U.S. threat to impose 100% tariffs on Canada if it finalizes a trade deal with Beijing. The ministry spokesperson Zhuo Jiakun says China holds that countries should handle relations with one another with a win-win rather than zero-sum mindset and through cooperation rather than confrontation. U.S. President Donald Trump made the tariff threat over the weekend and warned Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney that a deal would endanger his country. A survey conducted by the I4 Institute shows that German business morale remained unchanged from the previous month in January. According to the Institute, its business climate index remains at 87.6 this month, the same as in December. Analysts polled by Reuters had forecast a slight rise to 88.2. I4's president Clemens Fürst says the German economy is starting the new year without momentum. He adds that assessments of the current situation were revised slightly upwards, with the indicator rising to 85.7 in January from 85.6 a month earlier. Let's have a look at financial indicators at this hour. $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,420 naira, Botswana 13 pula 45, Kenya 128 shilling 42, Zambia 19 kwacha 52. BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil is at 5 real 29, in Russia 75 rubles 42, India 91 rupee 54, China 6 yuan 97, South Africa 16 rand 6 cents. $1 is 73 pence to the British pound, 85 to the euro. Commodities, gold is at $5,093, platinum at $2,869 per ounce. The price of Brent crude oil at $66.29 a barrel. That is all from me. For any business stories you'd like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za, or you can call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I am Chanduko Ligege.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Ahoy, matey!
Captain here to help, right, boys?
Set sail with us on a digital voyage like no other. Channel Africa has a treasure trove of awesomeness. That is our website and social media pages.
Tell me, why are you here?
We want you to be part of our adventure.
The winds are changing, Captain. And this time...
Imagine a world where curiosity knows no bounds, where entertainment meets enlightenment, and where every click leads to the African perspective. Visit us on our website, www.channelafrica.co.za, or follow us on Instagram or on X at Channel Africa 1. Go on, like us on Facebook at Channel Africa 1. So, spread the word. Tell a friend that Channel Africa's online variety is what they need on the web. Channel Africa, the African perspective. No fairy tales, just the facts and the music you love on Channel Africa.
You know, you don't know.
It's a song got in.
Love is a drug and I'm addicted. Pull up, show up and handle business. Love is a drug and I'm addicted. Pull up, show up and handle business.
Give me love, oh, baby, give me, make her calm down. Give me love, oh, cause I really need it right now. Give me love, oh, baby, give me, make her calm down. Give me love, oh, cause I really need it right now. Put me to work all day, put me to work all night. Nobody can do it better, make me feel alright. Anything you wanna do, I'm down with you. Anytime, any day, I go show face, cause you're sweeter than honey. Baby, you deserve a trophy. This kind of thing gon' make me marry. Long as you no treat me corny. Give me love, oh, give me love, oh, give me love. Give me love, oh, calm down. Give me love, oh, cause I really need it right now.
Right now.
Give me love, oh, baby, give me, make her calm down. Give me love, oh, cause I really need it right now.
Your love is a drug, and I'm addicted. Pull up, show up, and handle business. Your love is a drug, and I'm addicted. Pull up, show up, and handle business. Your love is a drug, and I'm addicted. Pull up, show up, and handle business. Your love is a drug, and I'm addicted. Pull up, show up, and handle business.
You should let me hold you, you should let me love you. And when you falling, say na me go catch you. I know your friends don't want me around you. They know nothing, they don't understand you. My baby now my banana multi elevate. And when she there with me, I concentrate. That's why I tell them other guys to wait.
Baby, one yo. Waiting you give no money can buy. Even if una jara, I go throw away. Baby, one yo. Waiting you give no money can buy. Even if una jara, I go throw away. Give me love, oh, baby, give me, make her calm down. Give me love, oh, cause I really need it right now. Give me love, oh, baby, give me, make her calm down. Give me love, oh, cause I really need it right now.
Your love is a drug, and I'm addicted. Pull up, show up, and handle business. Your love is a drug, and I'm addicted. Pull up, show up, and handle business. Your love is a drug, and I'm addicted. Pull up, show up, and handle business. Your love is a drug, and I'm addicted. Pull up, show up, and handle business.
Get set and be ready to go. On the move with Palesa and Benjamin Moshatama.
Let us be honest. I don't mind if I be honest. She in control when she feel on it. The patrol that calm me down. You like this, I like thing, my love. I love being your love. I'm trying to show you up. You are comforter. She really the A-list girl. She really my favorite girl. I'm loving the way you twirl. You twirl in the Maybach. She really the A-list girl. She really my favorite girl. I'm loving the way you twirl. You twirl. Fresh up and it on me. But you can't do it slowly. Your dirty wine, would you pen it for me? Take a picture in the shot sleeve. I had a feeling one of these days you'll be there, reason I stay. When you ain't girl, you make me say, ooh, crazy. You are me, girl, yeah, sweet chocolate, one bite. They say I love it, better make a man fight. But I girl, hold up, who better than? Bring 'em out, my girl fine like it at a bang. I like the way she boogie down. Give me booty bounce, make her elevator finance. Pussy and pressure, give her that girl later. Sharp like saber, my girl so fine. Give me that one. I like the way you twirl. You twirl in the Maybach. She really the A-list girl. She really my favorite girl. I'm loving the way you twirl. You twirl. Fresh up and it on me. But you can't do it slowly. Your dirty wine, would you pen it for me? Take a picture in the shot sleeve. I had a feeling one of these days you'll be there, reason I stay. When you ain't girl, you make me say, ooh, yeah, you're pretty, my girl. Turn up the night, turn up the dance floor. I should ride the motorcycle. You know you got the kick in my drum. Ooh, I go do anything, wake outside my charges.
That's Give Me Love by Daku with Runtown. It is taking us to 49 minutes past 11 o'clock Central African time. Actually, before that, you also heard Daku with Favorite Girl featuring Ray Ma with Favorite. Yeah. So let's move on right now. What were you guys saying about this conversation? I see people have commented on X saying, excellent conversation. Integrated disciplines like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu develop strength, endurance, and mobility together. It's true functional fitness that translates beyond the gym. Atika Khalid, I'm glad you enjoyed that conversation. Also, and Clemaine Chizinga says, I'm watching from Zambia, and Thomason Moshatama sending Palesa some hearts there. There's always people sending
hearts
some
for
hearts.
both you and I, Benji. I always tell you the hearts are for both
I don't
of
think
us.
anyone would send me a heart. You know, I think the hearts are going to you, all the way to you, and I'm okay with that. Let's give Pali all the hearts that she deserves. Okay, let's take a break. Lulu Gabu is here. We'll find out what's coming up on the next show.
Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out. Because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations from Wednesday, 23rd of July for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows, and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers, and the whole country affected by gender-based violence. For all your favorite SABC radio stations, call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC. Hashtag on the move and connect with us.
All right, Lulu is joining us to let us know what's happening on the next show, the Africa Update. Lulu, what's up?
Hello, happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
It's blazing hot out there.
It is hot out there.
This is the December weather that we wanted.
Yeah,
we never
it's coming
got.
now.
Yeah. Well, anyways, a lot coming up this Monday. There's a lot in terms of, we're looking at Zimbabwe, where the former opposition leader Nelson Chamisa back on the political stage after taking a 2-year break. What this means, what the next steps are, we are going to be finding that out. And then also, we're going to be speaking to a Kenyan member of parliament, Maxwell Kariuki. He is an opposition leader in parliament, and he with the opposition leader Rigathi Gachagua saying that there was an attempt on his life during a church service yesterday. We'll be unpacking that. There are claims of a rogue gang of police officers attacking the church with bullets and tear gas. So we'll be unpacking that story and what it means for this particular opposition leader, that's Rigathi Gachagua. And then also, you may have seen all of this unfolding, but the Madlanga Commission is back. On the first witness had already started, a general from KwaZulu-Natal, I think Gopal, if I'm not mistaken, and also another witness. So there are 2 witnesses for today, and this is unfolding there. The Parliament Ad Hoc Committee also coming back today since last week, and there's a lot on that front. I mean, we saw the asbestos case also in court. So there's a lot happening in South Africa and obviously all over the world, including more especially the African continent.
All right. Thank you so much, Lulu. We look forward to that from midday Central African time until 1 o'clock Central African time. Let's get some more music before we say goodbye. Hey, this is the famous Asibe Happy. I know that Lulu likes this one. She likes this one. This is Amifaku. Okay, we leave Lulu with some beautiful music. She'll be starting her show at midday Central African time. Nice Monday. Hope that you enjoyed the conversations with us. Stay with us right here on Channel Africa.
Hopefully you continue having a beautiful Monday here on Channel Africa. www.channelafrica.co.za. See you tomorrow.
All right, I think we're keeping the theme that Lulu likes here. This is for you as well, Lulu. Kajanin with Samborera. Until next time, God bless.